Amazing, astounding, sensational.
Hey, all you dumpster divers, welcome once again back to the Movie Garbage Podcast. Now, once again, bringing you the gap between the last one. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. We watched Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief today. And of course, I, Ed Bobenchek, your host, am joined by the fabulous, the fantastical, the mystical Matthew Lewis.
Hey, it's Matthew. Wait, Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief? I thought we were doing Wallity Jillfather and the Thunder Borrowers. That's what I said last time in the Warcraft episode. I thought we were watching that one. Damn, I watched the wrong movie.
Is that the one? Really? Warcraft was the last one we did?
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
It's been a minute, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
But yeah, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. God,
boy.
I loved the books so much.
Same. Ironically, I found them back in high school. Mm-hmm. I got sick, and I got the first one, and fell in love with it. My mom ended up buying me the other four, and while sick, I just blew through them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were really good, and I was really excited for this.
Yeah. When did the movie come out? What year was it? 2008 or something?
Seven or eight, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were in high school, it had been.
Oh, 2010.
Really? We were in college then.
Yeah. We just started college a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was in college.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of hope for this movie to be good.
Yeah.
Because I read the books too. Even after the books, I went on to read the what are the other ones? The Jason series with the Olympians and the Apollo series I'm reading now, which I really, really love. I
never made it past the 5. I never, not just because I love the author. I've never been, but I can't get back into books nowadays.
It's difficult. I never ever checked out the Magnus Chase, which I believe is the Asgardian book series, or there's an Egyptian one that's very also concurrent running, which I also never checked out.
Ironically, I think there's so many different places that's why it's kind of turned me off a bit, because it's too much.
It's too vast and too... Yeah, there's tons of the Percy Jackson ones alone are so... Because the Jason ones are a direct sequel to Percy Jackson a couple of years afterwards.
And
that's when you get into the actual Roman aspect of the gods and how that functions and stuff like that. I love it so much. Oh, God, it's so good.
I remember... The reason I chose this one, too, is because around the time we did Warcraft, way back, and however long ago that was...
Yeah.
My wife was reading it. My wife, she was reading it, and she started watching the movie, and she kept texting me during our podcast about how bad it was, having just read the book and then watched the movie.
It is so wildly different. I remember this it was a famous thing about the author Rick Riordan going off on how much the movie he literally wanted to be part of the script writing process. He wanted to be part of the movie process. Fox completely cut him out of it, and that's what the movies ended up the way they ended up.
So dumb, because how are you not going to want the author to be part of it?
Yeah, and he's gone on record saying how much he disappointed in these movies. So
I was actually reading, because I looked up kind of a little bit while I just finished rewatching it today, because it's been a while, and I've seen it, but at this point, I've seen the movie enough that I kind of forget parts of the book.
Yeah, which is
a shame, because I like it. There are things I do remember here and there, but I didn't realize that the pearls so in this film the pearls are the main plot point.
Yeah,
but weren't they a tertiary thing?
That was just something that they happened to be that's the way out too, I guess.
I thought they were all right, we're going here to do this, but now we need a way out.
Yeah, they just kept happening to run into monsters. They weren't items guarded by monsters.
Yeah.
And the whole, I don't know if you want to get into the aspect of book differences when we actually get into the plot, because a lot of characters' motivations are completely changed. A lot of actual plot aspects are completely different from the actual books, and it's it doesn't make sense if you try to compare them one to the other, because
it felt also really rushed.
It was very, very quick and just plot pop up here, monster fight, next pop, and then monster fight.
Not even fights half the time though. At the beginning of the Fury yells, give it to me. They yell at it, and then it flies away and never comes back.
Yeah, and also, do they ever actually directly explain the reasoning for the monsters at all?
Not really.
There's a specific reason why they keep popping up in the actual book.
the Minotaur was said to have been sent by Hades.
Yeah,
which isn't the Minotaur is not related to Hades.
No, I think it's just because it's dead. Well, I will say I guess I want to kind of wait till we get to the actual plot, because the reason that Hades specifically is sending monsters and has the ability to even do that is plot relevant to what's actually going on in the actual villain's motivations. Not Hades, but the actual real antagonist. Now, it's beyond the twist antagonist. There's another whole aspect, but And also, yeah, just I do want to get into the plot stuff, but I'm gonna straight up like spoil the book if I do. But
Well, I guess
Greek mythology, in terms of like, of course, I was going to make the Harry Potter reference to like the houses, but like the Greek gods and all that stuff. If you remember like all the different ones that actually have houses and like the whole reasoning for that in the books and the movies.
I remember they had each one had their own cabin.
Yeah. And there were several that was abandoned, and then like the big three weren't allowed to have kids.
Right, that's which I even hated in this because like they made it to be like Zeus made the law that no one could talk to their kids. It's like no, that's not how it was at all.
Yeah, in the book, the point of it was to be a metaphor for parents of single kids and the various reasons, or like if their parents actually keep in contact with them or not. Because literally, like the reasoning the gods didn't contact their kids was because they either didn't want to, or they just didn't care, or they were like, they forgot about it, or they did contact them and they were in contact with them all the time, which is like a really interesting thing. And like the final thing, which isn't in this movie, is that Percy tells Zeus that the one thing he wants is for all the gods to have to acknowledge their kids, and that going forward is why like all the houses actually are like more specified and everyone knows who their actual parent is, and it's an actual like important thing. But that's completely not relevant to this. But,
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
But I also hated that too. Like we'll get into it, but like so when he gets to the camp and he's like, Poseidon made this just for you. I was like, fucking no, he didn't.
Yeah, no.
It was supposed to be abandoned.
Yeah, it was an abandoned cabin, and they all.
It's not even a cabin in the movie.
Also, I don't think they have they don't have cabins, do they? Luke is just in a building. They don't reference like, oh, Hermes' house is for everyone who doesn't recognize because he's the like god of like lost people as well. So he's taking in all the kids that don't have houses, and that's why Luke's like that's another reason for that character's motivations for what he does in the movie too. Is because his house specifically for Hermes takes in everybody who does not recognize by their parents. And it's just like, yeah. And it's
about that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. The books are very, very well written. Rick Riordan is an amazing author.
Yeah, he's also a really good guy too.
He is an amazingly good dude. Yeah,
it's like I heard too. Like the Animorphs author she's like really awesome.
Yeah. She's
unlike some of these authors out here.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I brought up the Harry Potter thing because houses like that, like Harry Potter houses, everyone like personality tests, like the actual Greek ones. Which would you have preferred to, or which of the Greek gods did you like were interested in, like power wise, or actually just like personality wise and stuff like that?
Trying to think,
because there's a lot that like when they all do start recognizing their kids, you actually start specifying like, oh, that kid's the child of that person, and that's the aspects of that personality, or that and that, and it's very, very fun. It releases some like fun scenarios. Like while you're thinking of it, there was in the Apollo series, there is a.
I need to look at them all.
Oh yeah,
I forgot all the gods. Yeah, because I know the big few, but
there's a guy. There's I think a daughter of Nike who's the goddess of victory, and then a son of Nemesis who's the goddess of revenge, and the two of them just have like a super tsundere trying to outdo each other relationship, and it's very, very funny. But the character I liked, and one that I like, I forgot his name. I believe his last name is Tanaka, but he's a child of Nemesis. And like in the book, the whole thing is that he seems like a unimportant goof that Percy doesn't take. He's like joins the evil team eventually, and Percy doesn't take him seriously. No one takes him seriously. They just think he's an idiot, and he's very incompetent and everything like that. But once he is wronged, like Nemesis' powers like activate in him, and he becomes like super smart and super crafty and starts like fucking up them really badly. And it's really funny because it's like, oh yeah, of course, revenge is his motivation. That's funny.
Hera.
I always love that.
I'm looking at him now. Here.
Oh, you're good. Hera definitely does not have one because the whole point of that character is that she hates all these kids and she literally calls them bastards in the books, and she's like despises their presence every time.
Makes sense.
Of course, completely justified, but she's still played like a villain or antagonist in like in most things.
Remember too, Artemis doesn't have a house because she's got the huntresses.
That's also another aspect I wanted to mention. Yeah, because like in terms of LGBT representation. A huge plot point when they do mention the daughters of Artemis, who are just these women who join her and they remain immortal and they don't age because Artemis doesn't have children. And they say like you can never fall in love with a guy, you can't be in a relationship with a guy, and like that's the number one rule. And if you do that, you're kicked out of the group and you lose all your powers and access to powers. But then that leaves the question like, well, she didn't specify with guys, so how does that work for a girl who that's not even going to be an issue for? And you do find out way later in the book series there is this couple, a lesbian couple, who were daughters of Artemis. They fell in love, but they were technically kicked out, but they still have access to the powers and abilities and everything like that, but they're just not allowed to be with the whole group that travels around and like does missions and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just an interesting aspect of like, oh, they actually handled that and addressed that actually, unlike other stuff that's very coy with the LGBT representation.
So I would be looking at the list there, like honestly, the big ones, like, Hades would be the cool one, but, like...
because his kids are fucking cool.
that is also... Yeah, his kids are awesome. So, I guess, yeah, if you haven't read the books, by the way, I guess, is that a minor spoiler? He has kids that exist.
That's not going to be addressed in this movie, so don't worry.
Or the next one, either, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks.
But, which is, really a shame, because I always remembered loving them.
They're really cool. Especially when I was going to say, spoiler for the Jason series and the Apollo series. Nico does show up, and he is, like, really badass.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He was badass even like as a loner in the Percy Jackson series.
Honestly, when the minor spoiler alert, the Jason series is about the like Roman aspect of the gods, and so Pluto is different from Hades. And whenever they're like within another child of theirs, they literally the gods transform into their Roman form, and their actual like mannerisms and abilities and everything changes. Hades or Pluto, as opposed to Hades, is the god of like the ground and like literally the earth and underground. Mm-hmm. And so he has another kid who is of Pluto, and she, like, whenever she's just around Earth or dirt or whatever like that, like, riches and jewels and treasure appears to her because that's another aspect of Pluto that Hades doesn't have. And when she's actually trained by Nico, who's actually spent time with her because he's of Hades, and he actually has undead necromancer powers, and so they actually, like, team up and have really cool, like...
Oh, that's cool.
Some really cool times.
Yeah, Nico was really good. And I love, too, like, the way they introduced. Like, it was so clever to find a way to add them into the series. Yeah,
they were really... The daughter does eventually join the Daughters of Artemis.
Yeah, I remember that, because I remember that was part of, like, didn't Nico have a mini villain arc because of that? And all
she would disappear, and he was, like, trying to recover, and they were kind of antagonistic to him, and it was, that was really cool.
Yeah. But honestly, the looking at the gods, like I said, if we take away the big three, because those are the cool ones, either Aphrodite or Hephaestus, probably.
Yeah, the Hephaestus people are really, really cool. The what's his name? There's a Hispanic kid who's one of the main people in I keep bringing him with the Jason series. He's like his number one friend, and he's a Hephaestus kid, and he is just like nonstop building all kinds of cool shit. He has a giant mechanical dragon that they ride around on all the time, and he's just really, really cool.
Awesome.
Right? It's really sick.
Yeah, probably like Hephaestus 1, Aphrodite, because it'd be fun to be have. I don't know what does her like kids have.
Let's see. Well, number one, there are a lot of models and stuff like that typically, but then the switch over to. What's her name? Goddamn
Venus.
Venus, yeah, like the aspect of feminism and feminine. Like they actually have like active mind control powers, and they're actually really badass and cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the daughter's like they're a little more resentful of being of Venus. Like, oh god, that's so stupid. But like, and you actually find out the people that they actually romance are actual like show aspects of that. So the girl's father is like a famous actor who's like in a ton of movies and stuff like that, and that's why Aphrodite fell in love with him because he was so handsome. And then his kid is like plain-ish looking, but she still has like the like hypnotism, mind control powers of Venus, and so it's really, really fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
It's so good. I love this series. It's so fun.
Yeah, and that's what I think that made this movie so upsetting. Like it had
they don't play with anybody's abilities or anything at all,
except for they go over Percy.
Percy's are incredibly OP,
and they actively, in my opinion, like. Completely do Annabelle. Is it Annabelle or Annabeth? Annabeth. I just pulled a diagnosis. Annabeth. Like they wrote Annabeth terrible in this film.
Yeah.
So she was literally written like Clarice.
Yeah, she was pretty much like cocky and always fighting people. And like just
but the goddess of wisdom has like no knowledge of anything that they're doing in this movie.
Yeah, she's not very smart at all. She's very behind. I think in the books, like, first I keep wanting to bring the plot, but like she's the one who first meets Percy when he wakes up in the camp. She's the one who helps him and heals him and all that. And then you find out about her relationship with Luke and how she's like really friendly with him. And like spoiler alert for the ending battle, she doesn't want to fight Luke because she cares about him and she knows him from childhood.
Yeah.
And this one she like just pulls out her sword and starts like fighting him immediately.
But I mean, if they had her wake up, how are they going to have the who's that slow motion love at first sight shot?
Yeah.
That of course gets referenced at the very end.
I know, replayed for laughs or whatever, an attempt at a laugh. Another thing, this movie is also very unfunny, but the book. Oh yeah, I wouldn't even like personality wise. Percy is so different than the character in this movie because Percy is such a fun scoundrel who's also just happens to be altruistic, but he's like such a piece of shit, like funny way, but a nice guy.
Remember that blanket?
Oh, you're good. But yeah, I love like there was one of those like like Twitter polls or whatever, like would you fight Percy Jackson for like $1 million? And like the number one response was like only reason I would do it was because he would make fun of me if I didn't. like he would be like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah,
like, that's a fun cool thing because he's such a funny character.
Saying that makes me even more mad at this movie then because like, I don't remember all this stuff.
Yeah, he's like a very fun scoundrel, like goofy guy who just happens to like care about like altruistically care about the people in the bigger picture. This guy in the fucking movie is such a piece of shit. So like doesn't care about anybody.
Really is.
He's really reluctant to work with anybody. He's
For no reason,
He's never
too.
particularly friendly either. He's just looking for like the whole time. It's just
Yeah, he's like, I want my thing, and
Yeah.
and then the others are like, well, I guess we'll come along because.
he's like, no, don't come along. I got to do it myself. And it's just like that's not how Percy is in the books at all.
And also too, like it was forced conflict because honestly, he had a good point. Like, I apparently he and Grover were friends. I never got that. In
there's
this film.
in the book they're supposed to have been like in school together. I think.
Yeah. Well, also too, like they act with like the best friends sometimes, but then when he comes home that day, he's like, I thought this school was supposed to change things. It's like, so how long have you known Grover then? Like a day?
Yeah. Did they both move together? Like
right? Like what the hell?
I don't remember that being a plot point in the original thing. Also, the age alone, they're supposed to be kids, but they're like literally late teens, like in high school. And it's just,
it's awkward.
very bad aspect. Yeah.
Well, then how are you gonna be able to sexualize them?
I know. Yeah. I can't be worried if they're like fucking like kids like they're supposed to be. It's so ridiculous.
I will say, I think that the actor who played Percy did the best job with
He's
what he
a good
had.
actor, but he was not written to be like.
Yeah,
actual
Annabeth, I can't say. I feel bad for the actress because she got garbage lines.
Alexandra Daddario, she's a huge actress in a ton of stuff, but yeah, she's not
She-
giving a shit in this movie. It's very bad.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't remember him in the book at this point because it's been so long, and this movie has erased parts of it.
Yeah.
But I've always thought that Brandon Jackson did a good job.
I like Brandon Jackson as an actor. They try to make Grover comic relief in this movie, and I would say maybe 30% of the stuff they have him say makes me like chuckle partially. He's constantly saying like very dumb.
He's a
weird
character
references.
though. He's an actual character.
Honestly, yeah, more than
Anyone.
Percy or Annabeth or like anybody else. He's specifically like the thing I always bring up about the Red Letter Media episode 1 thing. Like, if you can't describe a character without like saying their occupation or what they look like, then they're a badly written character. He is a very distinct, funny, really like interesting character who does a lot of stuff and has a lot of stuff to say. In the books, he's like a completely nervous wreck who's like no self-confidence and is just like, constantly screwing up and is worried about what he's doing. But like he's completely different personality-wise, but I don't mind the character in this.
So I thought that he did a good job. The biggest issue I have at times is when they give him attempts at comedy that don't make any sense.
No, yeah.
Like later on with the Boatman.
Yeah.
Like how does he not okay, yeah, people aren't going to the underworld and everything, but like he's clearly involved and in completely apparently he's a protector, so he would know
he's
the
supposed
history.
to know stuff like the Golden Fleece he does in the second one.
Yeah, he knows it. He knows about this stuff, but how does he act so naive so often?
Yeah, he seems like, and also it's another aspect. Like in the books, they're constantly everyone around Percy knows Greek mythology stuff just because they've been in that world longer than him.
Yeah,
and so they're like, oh, this is blah blah blah, this is blah blah blah, and they'll like know and point out stuff. Like, nobody knows. Annabeth, who should know, doesn't know anything. And Grover, who should also know some stuff, doesn't know anything.
Yeah, like when they fight the Hydra in this,
yeah.
Grover's like, yeah, good job. And Percy makes sense not knowing it. I mean, he should, because...
It's 2010, and he's a teen. He definitely saw Hercules as a kid.
Right? Yeah. Like,
he knows you don't cut a Hydra's head off.
Exactly. And Grover even was cheering. It's like... And it was like Annabeth apparently knows.
Yeah, no, not that. You're not going to do that to the Hydra. Also, there's like the whole aspect of the Hydra being a fire-breathing dragon, which isn't lore accurate. If you want to be like a really pedantic asshole about it.
Don't they? I thought they have like random heads with
different
elements.
No, they're supposed to be like poison or acid. It's supposed to be like a snake, not an actual like dragon. But most pop culture does use them as like a dragon, multiple-headed dragon thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like that whole. It's just there's so much different. Also, the Hydra. I don't think it was the Hydra in the first. The Hydra's in the second movie.
Yeah, there was book. That whole Hydra scene in this is.
I think it was a chimera who does actually breathe fire in the first one, or something like that. I
think that sounds right.
Yeah.
I thought I remember seeing it somewhere, but I don't even remember. So I remember they get the second pearl somewhere completely different than they do in the movie. Because I remember when I watched this, I'm like, what are they going to Tennessee, the Pantheon for randomly?
Yeah.
And fighting a Hydra, like that is. I don't remember where it was, but I remember that's not where they go.
Yeah, no, they're definitely in the second movies when they fight the Hydra. I think it was. There was a bit. Oh, you were already like going around the plot wise, but like there was Procrustes, who was like a Greek myth about a guy who like ties somebody to a bed and then like eats them or something like that. But like that's what happens in the actual book. Is that they meet Procrustes and it's like a nasty mattress salesman who like traps them on mattresses or something like that. It's like a very weird thing, but it's a very specific Greek myth.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like there's so much stuff that's different. But and also like the again with the reason for the monsters, the Medusa part and everything else, like completely different from the actual books.
I say I like Medusa's scene.
Well, Uma Thurman's wonderful, but
She was wonderful, but I felt like that was a good there were two characters who should have been able to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A couple seconds into being, they're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, and even Grover, just like him. Oh, it's everything, but he got killed by realization. Oh crap!
Yeah, well, and the woman who's running around with Annabeth at the time, like, didn't say like this woman with snake heads fucking turned my husband into stone. He's like, "Oh, you gotta get out of here! She killed him. What happened? You gotta get out of here!"
My poor husband. We were just having directions. Yeah, it was just a bunch of characters being dumb, but I like that scene overall.
Oh yeah.
And Uma
Thurman's wonderful, and all the actors in this are, for the most part, are pretty good. Like, Sean Bean is great as Zeus.
See, I disagree with that because
the Zeus character isn't written well.
And he looks, and maybe I don't see Zeus. I see a dude dressed like
Sean Bean
Greek. And he doesn't even look like Zeus. He just looks like a guy dressed.
Dude, yeah.
Right, like I always remember. I think there was I remember random things in the book. Like somehow years after reading it, like I always remember it was said to be like in a business suit with like his beard all braided up,
yeah, and
everything, and he's got this little bit of scruffle, in this, and he doesn't have anything that denotes him as the god, the
leader of the pantheon, the guy,
right? Yeah. The guy who hangs out in Olympus and is the go-to guy,
yeah.
Because I also remember too, Poseidon in the book is like a fisherman. He's got the hat and then the jacket.
Yeah, it's like a regular.
And I think he had a Hawaiian shirt too. Even.
Probably.
But I just remember that's how I always got the description of Poseidon. Was,
like a regular normal should do.
Yeah, he just kind of does his own thing too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, they all do their own thing and they're just like not really in contact with each other too much. But it's just plot changes for the sake of whatever.
And it also what pissed me off too, if you think about it, is they were so close with Hades in this film.
I think that
Coogan was great.
Yeah, beyond his motivations in that, but I think the look was perfectly good.
And the house was incredible.
That's honestly how I could reading it. That's why I would have imagined it when I was reading it.
Yeah, I loved that. He looked pale. He looked like gothic kind of. He didn't look like everyone else.
Was kind of like oh yeah, whatever. Like a kind of like a downtrodden, kind of tired guy, and that makes sense for what he does and like his aspect. But the actual villainous motivations aren't.
Yeah,
good, but
even like to the extent of everything, it was dumb.
Yeah, it was very dumb.
Like it makes no sense why they changed it that much.
Yeah,
but I don't even remember his motivation in the book.
I'll wait to in the book. This is what happened when we actually get to the actual plot stuff. But I really, really, really enjoyed the books. I thought the movie was such a disappointment. Even back when I first watched it, I was like, God damn, why the hell did they fuck it up so much?
And they took out so many integral parts. Like there's no Ares, which I would have loved to see. I was excited to see the bite.
The Ares fight. Yeah, the Ares fight's really cool.
And then what was another thing? They took out something else that I completely forgot about.
A bunch of really cool stuff. I thought they took out the anti-aging, but that's from book 4, so that's way later.
There were just so many different things that the removal of it. Clarice, that's what it was. Clarice not being in this made zero sense.
Yeah, and also, did they get the backstory with Thalia and Luke and her in the first time?
No.
Was that in the first book? I can't remember. I feel like they mentioned the barrier.
I feel like they mentioned it.
Yeah, and also there was what was it, the Oracle and the prophecy and everything like that. They saved to the second movie, but I think they find that out in the first book. Like they actually see the
which would make more sense to hear something like that.
And also like how the quests work in the actual book is like the Oracle gives you a quest, and they're rare to even get one. But the thing they treat them like, oh yeah, everyone goes on missions every other day. It's whatever, who cares?
And then Dionysus just gets to choose randomly on his own.
Yeah. It's so goofy.
Yeah. We started watching the second one here.
Yeah. A little bit. Which was interesting. Like we said, we joked about how they
visually
retconned a whole bunch of stuff.
They did, but visually it looked like I was hoping. Like the
second one.
Yeah, I feel like if they were to keep on that, I think it could have been at least something interesting.
Yeah,
because the second one was interesting.
That's why I'm hyped for the new Disney Plus show.
I'm really hoping that's going to be
good. Yeah.
So,
because Rick Riordan is really, really tied and intimate in the actual creation of that show, and he's a great author. So
great author.
I'm trusting him to handle this properly.
Yeah. So, to get to the plot now, then.
Sure. Yeah. All right, ready to start the plot.
So, this whole opening scene.
Yeah, when he comes out of the water, gigantic.
In front of people.
In front of a fucking fisherman.
Yeah, and then it just CGI for the sake of having CGI.
Yeah, he turns into water and then goes through the town and it pops up on top of the Empire State Building.
So dumb. Yeah. What the fuck was that? And then And then Sean Bean was just wearing street clothes. Like, he looked like a homeless vagrant.
Yeah, just a random ass dude saying like, "Hey, your son stole my stuff."
And he had this tiny little beard. And if he had not said Zeus and we had not seen Poseidon walk out of the water, giant for no
just
reason.
and then he's just like, "Oh, you're blind, brother." Blah blah blah. We're gods.
Like you could, if you put those two and kept it silent, like made it silent, could not have told. You just put those two there. No way you would have known that was Zeus and Poseidon talking.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous how terrible that was.
Yeah, it was just so random just to show like, hey, these are gods, even though it doesn't make any sense. Also, they never explained the mist. I just realized.
What mist?
The mist is the force or whatever that keeps humans from seeing the gods or seeing the monsters. Whenever it's around it, that it's just an ever pervasive thing that makes like all the magical super stuff seem like normal or weird. Like if a minotaur is running through the city throwing cars around, they'd be like, "Oh my god, you see that earthquake? Like all these cars are thrown all over the place." And like that would be like the excuse or the explanation for what's happening all over the place. And that's like just like a ever present thing that like stops people. But like that guy, he just like turns giant in front of a fisherman and then like they like turns into water across the city,
which is dumb.
And
so
just, like,
then,
tons of other stuff.
So then what I'm hearing is that if we apply that to our own world, that there's a chance that you could see through the mist, even if you weren't a demigod, if you were to take enough crazy supplements.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd be able to tell what they're doing. And the deep state. Alex Jones sees the truth.
The centaurs, they turned the train collapsing because of dragons. Just like, I 100% could see.
There was a Hydra in Tennessee! God. What else are we going to do about this?
Yeah, he 100% would be like that.
Drink some caveman.
The bone broth.
And I tell you, that's so good. That's so good.
It's like the best milkshake ever.
Oh boy!
Oh my god! I love this fucking Alex Jones.
Apparently, that's our new thing now.
Yeah. Definitely a son of Dionysus, god of madness. He's just sitting around to make you insane.
Dionysus is just a dick.
Oh god. So yeah, after that little scene with them being gods and addressing that effect of their magic, it cuts to underwater shot of Logan Lerman as Percy just in the water.
Yep, with a really good cast list going next to it.
Oh yeah, all the crazy actors, Pierce Brosnan and everybody else.
Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman being incredible. Sean Bean, the dude who plays Poseidon, I know him from Rome.
He's in Grey's Anatomy apparently.
Grey's Anatomy, oh nice. Yeah, I know him for one of the main characters from Rome, and he's an actor in a ton of stuff. He's great, but not in this. Poseidon's very dumb. They're all really so very bland. Everyone's so like bland and story. It's like a shitty. What was it? What's his name movie? M. Night Shyamalan. Like everyone's so bland and like non-reactive. It's so weird.
Really are.
And they're trying to have gravitas. Like if the Break Rider books are so good because everyone is like not goofy but like funny and interesting in different ways.
I feel like you would know who they are just by their outfits description alone.
What the gods say, how they behave, and even how they look and what they dress like are all like, they really feel like all distinct and interesting.
And that was the thing that I really was excited to see on the screen, and we got literally zero of it throughout this film, save for like tiny little pieces.
Yeah,
like getting to see these gods in the modern form, how does this evolve? Everything was just old school Greek with no explanation.
Yeah, and then like a bunch of stoic, boring people.
Yeah,
like I remember just to go through some of the guys. I remember Aphrodite. If you look at her, she just looks like whatever person, be it an actress or a friend or a lover or whatever. She looks physically like them, but a more glamorous version of them. So like Percy sees her and he's like, "Whoa, she looks like that actress I know. Oh, she looks a little bit like Annabeth now. Oh, she kind of looks like blah 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 now." And he's like talking about how they look like more glammed up version of whoever. And then there's Nemesis, the one I keep mentioning, who's my favorite god. Is like this old biker granny who's just like really shitty and mean to everybody because she's the goddess of vengeance, and she's just like so cool. And then Ares is like a cool biker dude, but then when you see Mars. He's like much more modern outfit and modern military stuff, as opposed to like what he looks like when you meet him as Ares. And it's just like, what fun interesting. No, they're all just boring people in suits sitting around in Greek robes, just not looking interesting.
And like in the scene near the end, you could not tell me who anyone was until they get subtitled or someone says someone's name.
Someone says like, "Who's the son of Hermes?" And then a guy kind of like, like a boring looking man with like vaguely curly hair just kind of turns his head like, "Huh?" And like, I guess it's
I know. I guess. Yeah, it was.
This is so uninteresting. Like the gods are represented so uninterestingly, but there's so much personality and funness in the actual books.
Yeah,
of how they are.
And they look terrible.
Yeah. Okay, Percy, we meet him. He's a very like, no, I have dyslexia and I have ADHD and my life sucks.
Yeah, I will say I like the dyslexia.
That's always a very fun aspect. They offhandedly mention it for like a second, like, oh, it's just your battle stuff. But like they actually say like your brain's hardwired to read ancient Greek. That's why you can't read modern English.
Yeah.
And the ADHD is your battle reactions and your like tenseness of being a demigod. You're always on edge and you can like
So is that why? So what you're saying is I'm a demigod. Yeah, I have ADHD.
That's why you can barely barely sit still. But yeah, like that's never really addressed. And then he meets his annoying bad teacher who like does the thing that I hate, which is calling out someone because when their hands not raised.
Yeah, it was like there's little people raising their hands, and then she just looks around.
Like
and
Percy Jackson, and he's just like, what? Does he answer the question? I can't remember.
He says, I think he says he doesn't know because he can't read it because of dyslexia.
Yeah, he tries to read it and he's like, I'll call somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah. And she's like, anyone else? It's like, I don't know, maybe we should ask the people who raised their hands.
Yeah.
They probably knew the answer.
What a harpy of a lady. Anyway.
Yeah.
Next scene, they go to the museum.
Well, then they...
Is there any other shots like is there a boy thing or anything?
Well, they go, I think that's where you meet Gabe as well after that. Let's see, who's been saying how you
Gabe? Who's Gabe? You mean Grover?
No, well, Gabe was the boyfriend.
Boyfriend. Do they meet him before or after they go to the... Okay, no, they
do meet him just before.
They really?
Yeah, he goes home and talks to his mom.
You're right.
Because he finds out about all this.
Yeah, Joey Pants.
So,
Joey Pants
I thought he was a good choice,
He's
too.
always great.
He looked like a guy who would just kidnap a baby.
Joey Pants is always a piece of shit.
I watched that movie a bunch when I was younger.
Which one?
Baby's Day Out.
Oh, God. God. I just got that fucking music video. That movie's fucking hilarious.
That's a good one.
Joey Pants is great.
So, how did Mom hear him?
The mom's actor I know from a bunch of stuff too. She's a big actress on a ton of stuff.
She, though I feel like...
She didn't have anything to do either.
She had nothing to do.
She's a very boringly written mom in a teen kid movie.
Yeah, she was... I don't think... Again, it was poor writing because she had nothing to do. Yeah. She didn't even look like she was interested.
She was very.
She looked like she was falling asleep half the time.
All she does is just like run with the teens for like 10 seconds and then get to a barrier. She's like, "Hey, go on."
But she knows everything apparently.
She does know everything.
Does she know everything in the book?
I don't believe she knew
because she straight up lets them into Olympus.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What?
She's not supposed. Yeah, like I think most of the people don't know their spouse. And like that's a plot point for a lot of other characters. Like the actor whose like wife or who had the kid with Venus is like his life is ruined after that. And then also the woman who gave birth to Thalia and Jason, who spoiler alert are brother and sister because they're both of Zeus, or one's of Zeus and one's of Jupiter. And like he went to the same woman more than once, and that ruined her life having those two kids and him just being with that god twice, and then him just like dipping out like they do. And it's just like, and also Annabeth's father, who since like, what's it called? Athena, just like Artemis and the other one are virgin goddesses who do not take, lovers at all. She literally just popped up in front of her father's doorstep with half of his DNA somehow just appeared like Annabeth did. That's how Annabeth was born. And yeah, it's an important aspect of like her actual backstory, and like her father not knowing what the hell is going on, but then finding out that it is his kid somehow, and he's just like, what's going on? And it's just the aspect of the gods interacting with them is supposed to be a weird, crazy experience. Some of them they do follow up with them, some of them they never see them again. But it's just like...
See, I will say it makes sense. Like, it makes sense that she knew something.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Well, for him to have broken the rule, that makes sense. He broke the rule, that the big three can't have kids because they're just too fucking powerful.
Yeah.
So, like, him keeping up on her and telling her to keep Percy safe would make sense.
Yeah.
So the fact that she knew something and all that made sense. But this movie, like, they took it to a whole other level.
Yeah, I think
they explained none of it.
I think that might actually be a real plot point that she does know some, because the point of Joey Pants is revealed like in a scene or two from now of why she's with him at all.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that was a plot point from the book, so she knew enough.
Yeah, she knows enough, and that makes sense.
Yeah,
like I said, that's I felt like with Poseidon, especially because he's like, oh fuck, I actually got to have one of these. I'm gonna make sure it stays safe.
Yeah, and I guess what plot point was. That's why Thalia. What happens to Thalia happens to her, and then what happens to Hades' kids is also relevant. Since they were the earliest ones.
Well, they were before the rule.
They're from like the 20s or some shit.
Yeah, because the rule I thought was like from the 70s or 80s. Because I thought
he hid them before.
See, I thought.
I feel like they're from like the teens or something like that, or like 20s.
Maybe it was just beforehand.
I think, maybe just before. I think it was World War II or like 1 or 2 that made them stop. It might have been World War One.
Yeah,
it might have been World War One that said, okay, no more because this fucking world's happening because of our kids. So no more kids, you big three. And then he was like, oh shit, and then he hid the Nico and his sister.
Yeah, and then that's because they justify it because he's like, I had them way before we made that rule, so
yeah. They're from this time, so don't blame me. But then, like, literally, his brothers have 2 kids from modern times,
right?
So.
Yeah, but he's the bad guy. Of
course,
always the bad guy.
Yeah, that's gonna be something we're gonna have to rant about at the end of the movie. At the end of the podcast. Okay, so yeah, he goes to the
museum.
The museum and another
there's lots of exposition.
Yeah, another exposition scene, but another book difference. In the book, he is interested in Greek mythology, and he is paying attention to the class, and he does actually answer questions correctly. And he's kind of like uninterested, like has his headphones on.
Yeah,
not paying attention to Chiron or whatever his name is in his fake teacher name.
Doctor or Mr. something.
Mr. Bond or whatever.
Which, by the way, Pierce Brosnan was a terrible choice.
Brosnan.
Whatever his name is. That's about how he constantly phoned it in and was out of breath half the time randomly. I felt like he was just kind of talking like this. All right. It was like, God, that like, ugh. He was so, and then, but he did put on something. I'm a centaur and I'm proud. Yes. Oh, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was.
I know the plan to do.
Yeah,
child,
out of the movie, real
teenager.
yeah, he should be a child, but no, he's just really not helpful in and out of the movie. Who cares?
Yeah. We do get to meet the Fury in another weird scene because there was that weird, I feel bad. She has a little bit of pig nose.
The teacher has a very flat nose. And then she's just like, Percy Jackson. She's on a
raft. Walks through an exhibit being installed. Get their stuff in there. And there's no security guards.
Yeah, she's just up
no
on
one can see in there.
Turns into a big weird bat monster lady and then flies out of a window and Chiron
Chiron threatens her.
Yeah, I'll tell the gods about you or something stupid.
He says, I'll rip you limb from limb or something.
Yeah.
Which she's like, give me the lightning or I'll bite your heart out. And you kind of can't get it. He can't tell you about it if you've bitten his heart out.
Mm-hmm. Also, the Furies are supposed to be like super powerful, like high level fucking underworld beings, and not a fucking centaur should be able to stop them. But whatever, I'm not gonna get on my fucking nerdy hierarchy of Greek mythology monsters. But yeah, he does get the pen, which is one of the funny lines when he's just like, "Don't guard this with your life. It's a super powerful weapon." And the person's like, "This is a pen. this is a pen." That's one of the best lines in the movie.
And then Grover and Chiron are kind of talking. I forgot his human name. Yeah, and they're talking so weird in front of him. And I wrote it down. One of the phrases they use is, "There's nowhere on heaven and earth that he'll be safe."
Yeah,
that's a weird bit of terminology for a Greek god, a Greek mythical being.
Yeah.
So like, also there's a disability shame where he's like, "I'm your protector. How are you gonna help me like that?"
Yeah, you
have 2 canes.
You can't possibly help me. You have
crutches. Yeah.
Crutches. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can do a lot with these. And then he kind of just...
And then cut to him doing a lot with those.
Yeah. Cut to Joey Pants having his friends like, your mom servicing me and my friends.
Yeah. Again, great casting. Great.
Yeah, just being a gross creep.
That was gross. And then he gets his ass beat by Grover.
By Grover and his crutches. That's hilarious.
And they all run out of the house.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I'm going to take issue with this. So the mom explains about where she met Poseidon and all that. Yeah. She says she first met him at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, God.
And then said, and everything. And she's like, he was dazzling, which he's in Jersey.
Yeah, he had the fucking greasy hair and the disgusting tan and no shirt on, and he was being like, "Yo, what's going on over here?"
Right?
It's for Jersey Shore. And she's like, "Oh, he's so handsome."
And then she says, and then you showed up and it was perfect. So what you're telling me is that the unwanted pregnancy that you had with a guy on the Jersey Shore was perfect?
Yeah.
Minotaur shit. I call Minotaur shit on that. No. nothing good ever happens in New Jersey.
Yeah, I know, especially with freaking, what's his name? The Situation. His gelled up hair and his earrings and his stupid face.
I remember...
Yeah, The Situation pulled up in a tank top.
You know how I actually know who that is?
Rings.
He was on one of the roasts, and his set was so bad.
Yeah,
he got booed, and then, what's his name? The roast master dude? Jeff? Yeah. He straight up tried to help him out the best he could.
Oh god, yeah, The Situation just pulled up with his disgusting hair, and then she's just like, he's so romantic. And then he got her pregnant and then disappeared, and he's like, it was perfect. I guess she has a type, I don't know.
But so yeah, that bullshit on that. But they drove driving through the night, of course, and which by the way, this whole scene is shot terribly because we got to see the true hero of this film coming up, who was unjustly taken out in the most garbage way ever.
Very, very stupid way.
Because trampling through, of course, cow fields
very, very
is
cool
a minotaur who slams into the car.
Yeah, knocks the shit out of it, which is very, very fun. And then we finally reveal that Grover is a satyr.
Yes.
Finally. And he kicks off his weird goat legs and kicks out the window, and they crawl out.
Why? I was thinking about that. Why does he need the crutches?
I assume it's just so he doesn't walk weird, but he shouldn't walk too weird. And also, the mist should be like... I don't know if the crutches were like, he doesn't use them, but the mist just makes it look like he walks weird. I don't know.
No, because he has them.
Yeah, he has them. He actually uses them.
Yeah.
But he actually like, he uses them to move around and stuff like that. I think in the book, the mist is just... it makes it so like the way he walks slightly weird is because he has crutches, but he doesn't like actually need them or use them for anything except for like, it's weird. I don't really get it. It's not really stated or explained because like he seemingly should do his legs look like goat legs to normal people without the mist in this book movie world.
Who fucking knows?
And it doesn't matter. They don't think about it because who cares? It's shorthand. They don't have time for that.
Exactly.
And so yeah, they kick out the window, they run into the camp, and they finally get to the border of the camp and in a big old barrier keeping humans out.
Which is, if you think about, kind of bullshit. That
I don't remember if that was the actual case in the thing. Like humans can't go there for whatever reason.
Like it just was. I was like, they're supposed to be to keep monsters out.
Yeah.
But it's also keeping out humans. So is this a veiled? Humans are the true monsters.
Oh, they're the monsters all along. Deep.
When it's funny because the real monster was actually inside the camp already. Got through, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's very clever. Well, actually, technically, I guess that guy would have gotten in before the barrier.
I guess, yeah. But he had no
He goes in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, straight up does.
Well, 100%.
Then again, who knows? Because he did have a fucking video chat with him on a laptop. Yes.
I'm thinking of was that a Harry Potter thing where like the technology doesn't work with them? No, that is a thing.
But yeah, it works because they went in his cabin and he's playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And he pauses it. No.
Yeah.
You can't pause it, Mom.
That's funny. But no, I think that's a plot point in the things that technology doesn't work around demigods for whatever reason. It's like Harry Potter, wizards, the technology doesn't work. There's this like specific thing that like modern technology doesn't work too well with the demigods just for plot reasons. I think.
Well, except for when it does.
Gaming system, yeah, except for your gaming system in your laptop.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Minotaur chases them and grabs the mom, and then she just poofs.
Yeah, she poofs into dust for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
That I did not get.
It really... I think it was supposed to signify that Hades had taken her.
I guess, yeah. But like, she was dead.
I would say...
They act like she's dead, like she was killed. But
right, but she straight up vanished.
Yeah, she was killed.
You saw that.
Yeah, that was weird as shit. It didn't make any sense.
And also... Okay, even if you... Like, why did he have to kidnap her? If she dies... He can still get to her. Hades is the god of the fucking underworld.
Yeah, he can still, regardless if she was poofed or...
Are you telling me that Hades can't bring people back to life?
He can, he does, right?
Yeah, I know he can. I'm sure he can.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he could get the soul if he wanted to. If he really wanted to.
Yeah.
He could.
He does it in like various other like myths, like the one with Orpheus and everything like that. He can bring people back easily, yeah.
Yeah, like Nico, I remember he's able to make like zombies, but
he makes zombies and skeletons, yeah.
But he doesn't have the full powers because he's not the god of the underworld.
Yeah.
But Hades is. Hades can do whatever the
he's
fuck
like
he wants.
Zagreus from Hades the game. Very fun.
Oh god.
But yeah, it does make sense.
And the Minotaur, by the way, gets killed in one fucking stab.
By its own horn.
By its own horn.
Which isn't how, I don't think it's ever been killed, but...
it was dumb. It was literally, it was like, he dodged him twice, and dodged, they got broke, which, I'm sorry, no, that horn did not get broken off in a tree.
Yeah, that's why I
randomly
saw
like
somebody
that.
in a video point out that, like, the Minotaur couldn't yank his horn out of the tree, but Percy just grabs it with his hands and pulls it out immediately.
Right?
Which doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
Yeah, and stabs it not that deep.
Yeah, and then it just poops into dust, too.
It did?
I think it did, right? Yeah.
Which, I mean, that would make sense if
If
Hades
they just reanimated
was...
or whatever, yeah. But also the, I was gonna say, they never address it specifically, but the reason that the monsters do come back is, like, how much, if they get reconstituted after this period of time and they come back and after out of Tartarus. Because whenever the monsters get killed, they go to Tartarus and they can come out whenever they're reconstituted by either just like, I think like it literally is just like knowledge of them or like belief in them or like, just like cultural osmosis of
That's
them
right,
being.
that.
And that's why Minotaurs and like Medusa and like stuff like that are so quick to come back, as opposed to the weird shit like Campe and Typhon, which are like super esoteric, only fucking the nerdiest of nerds even know what they are, so they like take forever to reconstitute and come back. But like really popular shit like the Cyclopses and Porphyrius and all that stuff, like they can come back immediately almost because they just are so culturally.
So does that mean theoretically that Medusa's head could be existing several times over?
Yeah, there could be more than one.
Because
Perseus, the original Perseus, the actual Perseus, did like use the head around and like ran around with it for a while.
So I was gonna say, so like in theory, like you could kill Medusa with her own head,
and it probably would just reconstitute while the head's still out there somewhere, maybe.
That'd be weird.
I mean, it would be really, it's like the fucking the loophole with Slayers in Buffy. There's only can be a Slayer if the previous one gets killed, but like in Buffy, characters come back so often that there's literally like 3 other Slayers around at the same time because they keep dying and coming back, and so like just multiple heads of hers. But yeah, after the mom's dead, they get he gets knocked out by the Minotaur.
He just like passed out.
I think he just fainted after killing the Minotaur. He just kind of like faints
for no reason,
like a weak person.
Right, and then wakes up. Mm-hmm. Apparently, been out for 3 days.
3 days, and Grover's the one who greets him, as opposed to, like I said earlier, Annabeth's supposed to be the one who wakes him up and talks to him in this.
And he says, "I'm a junior protector. I'm not really a protector, but it's
he doesn't have his horns, which isn't how it works in the actual book. It was his seeker license, because all satyrs need a license to search for Pan, the god of satyrs and stuff like that. And that's why he's like, I need my license, and I need to protect a hero to get my license, and that's why I'm doing all of this.
But like, if he was that bad, supposedly, they put him in charge of
an incredibly important
the only known god of the big 3 at that time.
Yeah.
Bull again. That's like, it's like, no, fuck that.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that completely does not make
dumb.
sense. They put an idiot in for a judge. But yeah, like a dumb guy, he expositions and I'm like, yeah, you're a demigod. You're at a camp for demigods. Everyone here's a demigod.
And we didn't even talk about this camp now too.
Yeah.
I hated it in this movie.
Yeah, it's a very, very bad, because it's like in the book, it's like kids in orange camp t-shirts that say like Camp Half-Blood, and it's like a bunch of like little kids running around. Some of them in armor training, but most of them just being normal kids.
Yeah,
but yeah, you go off about that. I gotta grab my water.
This camp is, first off, it's full on Greek. Yep. Like, everything looks like it's straight out of a fucking history book, which makes it, and it's so generic. Like, there is no form or reasoning to this camp. It's just Greek set, bullshit. So it looks awful. And then, like I said, you're supposed to be like little kids. No, everyone there is a goddamn teenager, just like Percy.
On the mic. Ooh, nice.
ASMR right there. Yeah. Every kid there is a teenager. Mm-hmm. Everyone's in armor, fighting, shooting arrows, sparring, everywhere. And there's like 1,000 kids. There were not that many in the books. Am I wrong about that?
No, and they weren't training for war. It was like only Ares and Athena people were training for war. The others were just like living life normally or doing their powers.
Yeah, like
doing like a normal camp stuff, like fucking collecting bugs or whatever the hell.
Like at the very least, like just they looked like they belonged in an age.
Yeah, they look normal. It was like a normal like real camp, like a camp, and then like some people just happen to be like wearing armor and training. It was like.
It was just, and there was no distinguishing anyone for who they were supposed to be.
Everyone was just there was no aspect at all regarding the houses.
The house, especially the science house, is the only one that looked different. Everything else was just a tent, or a wooden house.
Yeah, like you meet a ton of characters like Clarice, like I can't remember her name, but the Aphrodite daughter who's like hitting on Percy a bunch when she finds out who he is, and then like Luke and all the people who are in Luke's cabin because they don't have houses, and it's just like. You actually find all the different groups and you meet them all, but no, it's just like nothing like that in this whole fucking setup.
Yeah, it was like ridiculous.
And then he walks around a corner and he has his meet cute with Annabeth, who's training. He's beating a bunch of people up.
I feel bad because, and I'm sure part of it was the costuming. This actress did look terrible in this.
Yeah.
She looked bland.
Yeah, well, she didn't look anything like Annabeth, and she was also too old. Like everyone else, she's way too old.
She didn't even look like... at no point did I believe that she was the daughter of the goddess of wisdom.
No.
Never.
Nope. No aspect of her was like scholarly in the slightest. It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. Like... And there was, of course, the Honey girls, Aphrodite daughters cliche.
That was during the campfire. But does he meet with Chiron first?
Well, he meets Chiron, and then as they're talking, a bunch of daughters of Aphrodite kind of call over to Grover and them. And he kind of goes, he's all horny. I'll catch you later.
That's another thing.
The daughters of Aphrodite, goddess of love. You know where that leads to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a whole, the whole aspect of Grover being super horny is also really weird. And being like a super ladies man. Like I said, the book, he is a complete, no self-confidence, not nerd, but just like a goofy, like Shaggy. He's pretty much Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I gotta try to help it. Oh, I'm such a nervous, mild dork or whatever. But he's like a horny, confident guy.
It was like, yeah. And then so Chiron takes Percy to his house, which is. It's not even a house. It is a wide open dock.
Open dock
with a ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was built for you by your father. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. No. Dumb.
Yeah, the fact that they got rid of all the specific camps is so stupid.
And then, it should have been looked like it was empty for a long time. This was not built for Percy. It was built a long time ago. He just is the first kid to be able to sleep in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like that. It wasn't even a house.
Yeah, it's just randomly he sees a big trident. He's like, "Oh, Poseidon's my dad, huh? Wow, that's a lot." Oh, also, we forgot to mention early when he finds out his mom is dead, he's kind of like, "No, what? Oh,
yeah, okay, whatever, I guess."
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm
gonna walk through the archery range.
Gods, Poseidon, that's a lot to take in. Anyway,
why would I have to be worried? Because Hades and Zeus feel threatened by you.
Yeah, it was.
No, that is not it at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of was, but not for the reason that you were giving.
Yeah, no.
It was. Well, I wrote it was the big three should not have kids because they are too powerful.
Yeah.
And they all came to that agreement. Mm-hmm. It was not like Zeus and Hades, just feel threatened by you. It's like, no, he shouldn't exist. So if they don't like him, it's because they're like, we fucking abided by these laws.
Yeah.
We've stopped having sex. We've got some blue ass balls over here. Also, and then this motherfucker goes and has some underwater kinky shit. Fuck that.
Yeah, not knowing that they're all lying at the same time. But we got to get to the stupid fight where he realizes his powers, because I didn't want to talk about the campfire scene, which is after that. So they have a weird little tournament thing where they're all running through the woods, and he runs into Annabeth out of nowhere.
Well, this was alright. So they're playing capture the flag.
Yeah,
they all run straight at each other.
Yeah,
that's not how you play capture the flag.
Not at all. No.
And then Luke is the only one to think, let's not go into the middle of the giant skirmish in the dead center.
Yeah,
let's actually sneak around. Fucking figure.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. How does he know where the flag is supposedly?
I know, they just go right through some woods, and it's right there, unguarded, of course.
Well, Luke does have a little badass moment, which I thought the actor who played Luke was pretty good.
He's great. Yeah, honestly, he's probably one of the most accurately cast people in the book.
Yeah, he was charming, and when you see him later, he plays the part really, really well.
The twist is actually like, oh no, and he actually seems like a cool dude who's actually being helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, where did I have this here?
Annabeth jumps out of some bushes and attacks him and beats the shit out of him, which is not like her personality whatsoever.
And it was
she literally acted like Clarice. I'm pretty sure in the book, didn't Clarice fight him during
I think so,
scene?
yeah. And she straight up is like, I'm the goddess, my mom, I'm the daughter of the goddess of battle strategy. I'm pretty sure the battle strategy should not be jump out in front of them and talk to them.
Guard by yourself, and then you jump out and fight them.
Right? And then, of course, everyone watches their fight.
Yeah, I was like, ooh.
Oh, like this. okay, if you're about to like the blue team doesn't help him out at all.
Nope, not at all.
Chiron, of course, has sides for no fucking reason.
Yeah, real Dumbledore move. I like this guy, so he wins. So okay.
Literally, and then the entire red team does nothing.
Yeah,
they just cheer when he gets literally sliced up.
Yeah, he's getting cut up and falls into the river, and they're like, "Yeah, we did it!" Even though they're just standing around their own flag, not captured anything, and beat one guy. One guy who's like his second day of camp.
They're cheering as he falls to the ground, looking like he's near death. Yeah, woo! Oh yeah!
His ass.
And then also too, another reason why the daughter of the goddess of wisdom who should theoretically know.
Do they know he's Poseidon's son by this point?
I feel like they should, because he straight up like went to the Poseidon thing that recently.
Yeah, do you think they already know?
I think they.
I don't remember. Who cares?
But like, she still lets him near water.
Yeah, he falls, and then like, of course, this is one of the first instances of like a ghost. He does it a couple times. Poseidon like talks to him as like a weird ghost in his head, which is not something from the books whatsoever.
Yeah,
he's like gives him advice and like tells him
water.
Yeah, go to the water. It'll give you superpowers. What?
And then, it gives him superpowers.
Yeah, I know.
Like against these kids who have supposedly been training for a long time.
Yeah,
he just literally one block, knocks him out.
Yeah,
one shot. Knocks him out.
Yeah, and also I was going to say that another person pointed out that like he literally runs through that water to get to the flag, and it doesn't do anything for him. And then at the end when he's like falling in the water, he like touches it, it heals him, and it gives him super strength and like super combat ability.
Yeah, isn't part of it like in the book, like if he touches water, he actually is powerful?
Yeah, but no, he literally runs through the water like he's like up
right.
to his ankles to get to the flag, and like it's unhelpful. And then he like reaches forward and like absorbs him, and then he's like, oh, now I'm super strong, and then it beats everybody up.
So. Yeah, and then he of course fights Annabeth.
Yeah, and
beats her. And so I realized, so he gets wet, he gets the ability to KO everybody, and it also allows him to get Annabeth wet. Oh, she looked like she had fucked me on.
Oh, God,
Did she not?
Yeah, she was into him.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh,
that's ridiculous."
He beat me. I want you to beat me some more.
Oh, Jesus, Ed, you're the worst person ever.
Or do you want me to help beat you
off? Oh, God. Well, before that happens, anyway, he grabs the flag and just like, "I did it." And everybody kind of stand around and watch him take their flag, and everyone cheers.
Yeah, like the whole. I even said, yeah, that whole scene just felt awkward.
Yeah, it was very uninteresting and very poorly shot fight sequences and just really shitty.
Yeah, and like the way the parent competition worked was crappy. And then even too, like up until the moment that Hades appears, the whole fire scene sequence feels forced.
The actual point of that is like the sorting. Okay, we're just gonna cut to the next night or that night. There's a party for the winners of the stupid thing. Everyone's sitting around the fire, eating and being happy. In the actual book, this is like the fucking sorting hat scene, where like around the people wait to see if they are chosen by their parent, recognized by their godparent, and like a symbol pops up above their head of like whatever that god is, and that's how they know. Or if they don't get, if nothing happens, then they get sorted into the Hermes house, and that's how it functions. This is when, in the book, he's revealed. They see a trident, and everyone's just like, oh shit. And like everyone's actually like, what the fuck is going on? Because that's when you find out, oh, he's the son of Poseidon. That's not supposed to happen. What the hell's going on? And it's a huge reveal. I don't think Hades pops up in this scene, but in the movie is when he pops up in this giant weird devil form and says,
I will say I did like this scene.
It's interesting because I think maybe something like this happens, possibly. Or like somebody gets possessed or something that happens. But like, yeah, the big giant thing pops out and it says like, "You Percy Jackson, you stole the lightning, bring it to me, or I'll kill your mom, or I'll kill your mom."
And I'll give you your mom back.
Yeah.
And I thought like this was a cool scene.
Yeah.
To see, because it was like, oh shit, like he threw fire a little like offhandedly, but like it felt for the first time like, oh shit, like, oh yeah, that's a god.
Yeah,
yeah. Everyone actually is worried about him, that he's a god.
You can actually destroy anybody here.
And there was actually some interesting plot that wasn't just, oh, we had to protect Percy for
or just sitting around this camp and his mom's dead, but he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he's like, and he says, they actually take him aside and say, like, "Okay, well, you need to figure this out, or you're not going to go, or whatever the hell they actually decide, like if they're going to go or not."
Chion's like, "Oh no, you're not going to go because we're going to go with my plan." Because he's like, Hades can't be negotiated with or bargained with, but apparently Zeus can.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's not how this works at all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, fuck that. No. And also, too, Hades straight up says, you know, give me the lightning bolt or I'll kill you. Or no, yeah, I'll kill your mom. And Kyra's like, he'll kill you. And it's like, I feel like that would be a bad thing for Hades to just do, right?
Yeah, just to murder him for out of nowhere. No, that'd be
even if
that would be worse because then he would piss off Poseidon, and then they have
right because even if he did it and could somehow claim it to Zeus, Poseidon wouldn't get pissed off that you killed his kid.
Yeah, I also think that would just cause more problems.
Yeah, so it's like they just kind of gloss over the fact.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just a weird like plot motivation. And he's like, oh, wait, well, I'll think about it or whatever. And he goes to bed and he tries to sneak out on his own because he doesn't believe in his friends or whatever.
Yeah, and then it felt so forced.
It was very, very forced.
Like, I did not believe that. Annabeth's reasoning was, I want to go on a quest.
Yeah, the quest aspect, like, they're not given to them by the Oracle or anything. They kind of just decide to go on their own, which is amazing.
Yeah, it just was so... But then even though they're trying to sneak out, they go to someone else, Luke.
Yeah. They go to Luke saying, how are we going to do this? And then they're given the sneakers and a shield out of nowhere. Just to see, but like those both, like, I don't remember if the shield is how it works in the book, but the feathered shoes do have a very specific purpose and a very specific point to be given with the shield and like what they're supposed to do when they get to Hades. It's not a plot point in this, but there's an actual specific reason that they're given it. It's like a part of the plot. But it's just like randomly, here's some shoes that I stole from my dad because he has a bunch, fuck him. And they're like, oh, you don't like your dad? And then he reveals like, no, I hate all the gods there, they don't care about their kids. And they never really address the actual, like I said, the reasoning for that, of like his actual animosity, because he's in contact with Hermes in the book. I'm pretty sure he's like given the shoes because they're like on good terms. So
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
Yeah, you can't pause the online shooter, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, and he also says we all have daddy issues, right? Annabeth...
No, or Grover probably not either.
But, like, clearly if she had issues with a parent, it was her mom. So she has mommy issues.
Yeah, she also mentioned that she never got to see her, which is not how it is in the book, because they're also on good terms.
I was like, isn't Athena actually, like, good to her kids?
Yeah, she's actually very good to them. She treats them nice, and they can contact with their parents, some of the parents still, and it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a smart thing to do, because... When you know...
Yeah, because also we forgot the mandate that Zeus made that they aren't allowed to get in contact with their kids. But in the actual... It's very stupid, because like I said, the fireplace scene is supposed to be like a sorting hat scene if you find out if you're parent or not. And most of the... Like it's been said that like a lot of the gods don't acknowledge their kids. That's just out of their own, shittiness or whatever. But some of them do recognize them. Like Athena does recognize her kids. Hermes recognizes his kids. Apollo recognizes most of his kids. Artemis has her thing going on, so she's not related to that. But then the other ones, like, what was the other ones? Now, Hades and Zeus are not, obviously. And Hera also does not have a thing because she doesn't like bastards because she's goddess of marriage. The other ones that do have houses. Hephaestus, yeah, his kids all like are really cool type people. Ares' people are really cool. There's like I think Demeter and some other people like that do have also kids.
I feel like with Ares too, like it would make sense. Like he wouldn't recognize them unless they did something good.
Yeah, unless they're actual tougher, like recognizable for purposefully. Yeah, it's just like there's a lot of them, and they do have it's a fun sorting scene, and you meet all that stuff, but it's not. There's never addressed that. There's like they're mandated not to talk to their kids,
which is dumb.
It's very stupid
because like. Yes, you can have kids all you want. You just can't talk to them because that's the healthy thing to do.
Yeah, that'll make them nice and sane.
Yeah,
it's very stupid, but like and that's why Luke's upset.
That doesn't explain why Poseidon wouldn't want more kids. Then
I also explain why, but and that's not wise. But she like no aspects of her kids, and Hermes. Luke doesn't seem to have any aspects of Hermes. We don't meet any of the other gods' kids because they're not plot relevant because it's rushed through that. So this whole motivation for what's going on does not make any sense.
But Luke has everything at the ready. Like, literally, he has the map under the shoes and the shield right there next to him.
Yeah.
Despite him being surrounded by modern technology.
Yeah.
No one questions that.
Nobody's like, okay, that makes sense. All right, so they finally start their mission. Do they have a car or do they just kind of like walk off?
They take the bus.
A bus? Okay.
They take the bus.
All
for the first and only time.
They find out about the pearls of Hades, and that's
the Persephone's.
Persephone's pearls.
It's Persephone's pearls. Yeah. Which was one of the things. Like apparently, that's not the motivation in the book. That was just like something they needed to get.
That was just a side thing to say. Once you do whatever you need to do, then you'll just teleport out, and who cares?
So yeah, but like, so this is where you get the Uma Thurman scene because they go to Aunt M's garden.
Yeah. Very, very cool garden center in Jersey. This is Jersey also.
Ugh. By the way, Jersey. In the book, it was actually like open, wasn't it?
It was like a normal place, yeah.
Yeah, because this is like deserted.
An old abandoned thing, yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Like,
and
it is, like, hard abandoned. Like, they open up, like, a drawer, and it's
covered in dust and spiders.
Rats. Like, a bunch of, like, rats and everything. Like,
a bunch of old statues just hanging around. And they're kind of just like, okay, like I have a plan, everybody. Split up and wander around my room. Like, yeah, good plan. And then they all split up. What's it called? Percy's kind of just wandering around looking at shit. And then Annabeth runs into a woman who's screaming her head off. And not explaining what happened, just screaming.
Just screams, gotta go before she finds us, gotta go, we have to go.
Yeah.
And everything. Then cuts to Grover, who finds the statue of a satyr. It's like, it's like my uncle.
My Uncle Ferdinand, that's funny, he even got the same mold. But that's impossible. He was killed by Medusa.
He didn't say Medusa, she was killed by Wide Eyes. Percy, we gotta go!
Yeah.
Again, that's one of the moments where I was like, why?
Yeah.
Also, apparently, fuck those statue people. They're dead.
Yeah, they are dead. Yeah.
Because they just shatter people. Like that woman.
Yeah.
She gets turned to stone when we finally get to see Uma Thurman. Mm-hmm. She gets turned to, spoiler, I guess, for the random extra lady who gets turned to stone.
Yeah.
Eventually, they just hit her arm off.
Does he hit her, or does somebody else knock it off? I can't remember.
One of them do.
Yeah, one of them do. Yeah,
because she's holding Annabeth's arm still.
And also, I remember a plot point sticking in my head, even as a kid or a teen reading the book. They explained that Medusa was a girlfriend of Poseidon's, who was with him in an Athena temple, and then she turned her into the Gorgon as revenge or whatever. But in the actual myth, is not a consensual situation, and Athena did curse somebody who was a victim, and it was really bad, and the whole thing's actually much worse. But they made it more placatable for young people reading this book at the time, and they made it explained it a little bit better.
Yeah,
and made her an actual villain for what happened.
Yeah,
but also that's an aspect that's they never really addressed, because the Minotaur, Medusa, and I think and the Cyclopses are all tied to Poseidon, and they're all his fault.
He had a lot of shit.
He did a lot, yeah. Honestly, that's another thing at the end with Hades. If you mark up the sins of all the Greek gods, Hades is inarguably one of the least bad people.
Right?
Literally pound for pound, if you go by even any number of myths, Zeus and Poseidon are 100 times worse than anything he's done.
Zeus, Poseidon fucks a bunch of shit up. Zeus literally fucks a bunch of shit.
Yeah, literally. They are both very, very bad. The Odyssey is all just Poseidon being a dickhead. The founding of Athens and all that stuff, and the horses and the origin of horses and all that, it's just him being a piece of shit. And Hades has one or two bad things under his belt, actually, but Zeus is just nonstop terrible, awful shit, and it's just really dumb to make him the villain. But they never really acknowledged that, and they never acknowledged the actual origin of the Minotaur being Poseidon's fault, and the Medusa thing is kind of passed off it's kind of 50-50 both their fault, and not Athena being a piece of shit in that situation. Just she was in the origin of spiders is also Athena being a piece of shit for losing a contest to a lady who was a better knitter than her, so she turned her into a spider. It's just they don't really go into those aspects of the gods too much, which is really another thing for just totally for the books. I get it, but they're fun stories when you actually use them properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just Medusa's there, and she starts turning people into stone. Uma Thurman's being great because she's great. She's wonderful.
Played it great.
She's very hammy and flirty and weird and creepy, and looks great, and the effects are cool.
The effects were really good in this.
Yeah.
They were CG for 2010, but
but still it's passable.
Yeah, and she played with it really well.
Yeah, she was very, very creepy and it's menacing, and she's looking around all crazy with those things, and she's very theatrical with it, but it works for her as Medusa. The poison ivy practice works. Yeah, she's very much channeling.
No, I think we needed a few more ice puns.
That would have been wonderful.
But
they do eventually just find the pearl sitting on a...
she grabs Percy at one point. They drive a random truck. And so, I think that's where the point of that random lady, where they steal her and her husband's truck.
They drive through and kill a bunch of statues in the process.
Yeah, obliterate a bunch of statues. Percy's able to get away and able to slice her head off.
Yeah.
And they go with Kratos logic. Hold on to the head.
Yeah. I think that he does use that in the what is it? Clash of the Titans, which is a movie I wanted to put on our list, but now since we did this, I'm never going to do it. The new Clash of the Titans movies, you should watch them. They're on HBO Max. They're serviceable mid early odds fucking shitty Greek movies, but in the actual original one, the old claymation one, he does keep the Medusa head, and he does use it on the Kraken at the end of the movie. So that's an actual plot thing that they do. You actually use in those movies and series. But yeah, they get the fucking pearl or whatever the hell. Who cares?
It was on her wrist, of
Was it on
course.
her wrist? I don't know. Because that's the one that makes sense. Because the other ones are just kind of fucking just flopped around. Who cares?
Yeah, they really were. I will say too. I even like the idea that Medusa has one of the pearls to visit with Persephone. Like, because in lore they were like Persephone would have visitors and they needed to get out of the underworld.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
So she created it.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
So it's like, oh, look at that, Medusa has one because she's friends with Persephone.
That makes sense. The second one doesn't make sense. But
the second one makes zero sense.
Nor the third, but we'll see.
I forget what the third one was. Oh yeah, it was just that's right. That was just they were like, oh wait, the scene has to have this. Oh yeah.
Yeah, who cares? Okay, so they get the pearl, they drive off. Medusa's dead. This is when they go to a hotel.
Because Grover almost crashes the car.
Yeah. They get a motel. Poolside scene of him just being like, "Oh, I miss my dad." She's like, "I never knew my mom." And
which
then
is wrong. Also, like that random hotel's pool is open.
Yeah, just
in the middle of the night.
That makes sense. I think most motels are shitty like that. They have their pools open in the night for anyone to be disgusting in.
That pool does not look disgusting though.
No, I'm saying people to be disgusting in. Is the motel.
I guess Tommy boy.
Oh, God. What the fuck? Oh yeah, the funny scene with them like leaving the head in the sink and then saying like, "Hey, I can't go to the bathroom with her in here," and then like
she's
like,
"Wah!" And then just get away. Oh, that's like apparently the one kid who ran away with his mother and his friend makes national news.
Yeah, and like Joey Pants is just like, yeah, his thug friend beat me up. Or whatever.
And he's been on drugs and drinking alcohol.
That was funny. Joey Pants is a great guy.
He also said straight up on the TV, it's like, stepson, he not coming from these loins.
From these loins, yeah. He's amazing in this movie.
Oh boy.
The highlight of the movie, honestly.
Yeah. Also, they don't get any sleep.
No, they leave immediately because the maid sees them with the severed head.
Yeah. Also, Percy got on a bathing suit. Where did he have that bathing suit from?
He just packed it when he went to camp. Well, no, they kind of ran on the run. There's no reason he didn't know where he was.
There's zero reason he had that bathing suit.
He's apparated it onto himself. Who knows? But yeah, they leave in the morning anyway. They drive all night from Jersey to fucking Vegas, which I think is
Jersey to Nashville.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Yeah, they're going to Nashville next. Yeah, this is when I think this might have been the Procrustes thing with the mattress, and they tied him out like shit.
This would have been because this is not in the book.
Yeah, no, this is all new.
The random Greek pantheon in Nashville, Tennessee.
Parthenon,
the giant ass.
Nice.
The giant ass building.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, they see that the giant statue of Athena has the little
pearl right up at the top.
Yeah, right on a little head thing on it. And so like, okay, we're going to sneak in at night and we're going to get them all.
We'll come back after night, go to the bathroom, and just stand in the toilet for hours. And then
they have the plot from also one of the Transformers movies I remember. Like, the guy's just like, oh, well, like, they're trying to get like the Smithsonian or something like that. And they just like stay in the bathroom all night. It's so stupid. That's such a dumb trick.
Right? There's no way that worked.
It's so stupid. But yeah, they do that, and then somehow it works, and they just like creep out at night, and they finally like, okay, it's just a bunch of weird robotic-looking janitors like mowing the same spots and just standing around in the middle of the night. We forgot about the night janitors.
Yeah. So Annabeth pulls out a little mini crossbow. Roman's like, "You can't kill them."
That was funny. And that's one of the few, like I said, one of the few lines from Grover that are actually funny. It's like, those are working class Americans. You can't kill them.
Yeah. And then she takes them out by firing at them, and they audibly go, "Oh!" and land on the ground. You don't see her reload.
No, she kind of just like fires them at them repeatedly.
But like there's you see each guy get hit, go and drop their thing and flop to the ground, including the guy on the freaking ladder.
Yeah, he like falls like 10 feet and just like crashes on top of a stone.
And she's like, they're just asleep.
Look at him, he's all tired.
Poor look.
Oh boy, it's all talking out.
So then they're like, all right, so now how are we going to get up there? It's like 30 feet in the air. So they pull out a laptop and call Luke and like, how do you work the shoes?
Yeah, so stupid.
And
yeah, they just put them on and says you got to think of. I don't remember what the fuck the explanation for how they.
You have to get a running start.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is. Well, apparently not all the time, because I feel like Percy just kind of jumps into the air.
Yeah. Later, it just jumps around with them. But yeah, they do that. They get the pearl, like, hey, we got it. Oh, the janitors are awake. And then they all kind of just, like, fucking robot into a giant fucking Hydra out of nowhere.
It was weird.
It was so stupid.
Like, they woke up supposedly after being able to sleep for half an hour.
Yeah.
There was no sense this took a half hour.
No. They just kind of jumped up and started, like, just turned into a giant monster that makes no sense.
Well, don't forget they talked in unison.
That wasn't even an explanation for, Percy Jackson, you'll give the lightning to Hades. Or I don't remember what the fuck they say.
Give us a lightning bolt. Something with you'll give up the lightning bolt. And then they just meld into a giant Hydra. And it doesn't try that hard to get at them. Because they're standing behind a pillar right next to the heads.
Snapping like a monster, even though they were just like pretending to be a janitor earlier. Which also, that's what the mist would do. Make them seem like 5 people just working or whatever the fuck. But like, that's never addressed. They just kind of can transform into 3 people. Or 5 people, whatever the fuck. Like,
yeah, and this whole scene is dumb.
It's very stupid, yeah.
Because
they could have just transformed him back into the guy. They fight the Hydra. They cut off the head, and nobody knows. Oh yeah, that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, except for Athena, one of the few times.
Yeah, Athena, her name, Annabeth.
Annabeth, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's of course Deus Ex water.
Yeah.
Randomly, there's enough water to make a giant ass wall.
Yeah.
Coming from enough that he can make that giant ass wall, but not enough that it's like continuously jetting out of the wall.
It's so stupid. But then eventually they do manage. Like, oh, well, I know what to do, and they use the. Of course, the Medusa head to freeze it, which is very cool, but now there's a giant ass statue, so who knows?
Which they never explained. Like, how is that going to get explained?
Also saw a funny thing about, like, it was like stopping the fire, but like, how is the thing turning the fire to stone? Does the fire have eyes? to see what's happening? The fire's turning into stone because it has eyes to see Medusa.
Apparently, it's just the powerful enough force.
Yeah, but then shouldn't like everything should look like turn to stone? But that's not how it works. But anyway. They fucking get the stone, they fucking leave, I guess.
Yep, go to a diner, and then there's some TV that talks about, like, there's crazy weather going on.
Yeah. Oh, it's Zeus getting angry. Like, how's that work if he doesn't have his lightning bolt? Who knows?
Right? Also, like, why, that was...
Yeah, it was very stupid. But now we get to one of the funnest parts of the movie.
Now we're just going to randomly drive across the country.
Yeah, from Nashville all the way to goddamn fucking Vegas.
With no stops or anything interesting happening in between, apparently.
Nope, not a single stop. Just all the way to Vegas. And
how the fuck did they get there in that... They drive that truck.
I guess they have enough money for gas and shit, too. Yeah.
I guess they must have, because later on, they had at least $170, but I think they got that at the casino. Because is that part of
probably, yeah.
Because this casino scene is dumb because it promotes drug use, gambling, and child weddings.
Yeah, child wedding. Yeah, Grover's presumably young. Yeah, this is the most fun part of the movie. Like, on purpose and just, like, aesthetically, and the fucking Lady Gaga song, and just, it's just so ridiculous. Yeah.
It was another thing, too, where I think it was fun because it took what the book did of modernizing an ancient Greek myth.
Yeah, it's the only one that's the most direct. Like, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think, too, like, Medusa, like, Uma Thurman didn't look like she was old-timey or something. She looked like a stylish, modern woman with the cool head wrap. Like, she looked great.
As opposed to the Hydra, which, like, in the actual thing is just one of Hercules' is, like, 12 labors or whatever, where, like, a guy's like, hey, there's a fucking snake with 9 heads in the swamp. Can you go kill it? And then he, like, goes and kills it. And that's the extent of the Hydra in the Greek mythology. It's like it's a cool monster and all that, but it's coming back. But it's
definitely, I think, gotten like the idea of a monster that you can't cut its head off.
Yeah, don't cut its head off, and it's like it grows more heads, and it's a giant weird snake dragon thing.
Yeah,
and it's a cool aspect. But like the movie had the Parthenon didn't make any fucking sense, and the 5 janitors that turned into it didn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah,
it being giant and fire breathing didn't make any sense. But whatever, it was they wanted a cool monster fight. Who cares? But that's why in the actual thing, like I said, the Procrustes thing, which is
a monster fight.
It wasn't even because he barely fought it.
Yeah, they literally stood behind a pillar and just kind of batted at its head.
Yeah.
And then occasionally would like, I'm gonna do a thing, and then like Percy just Deus Ex Mild Waters or Deus Ex cuts off their heads off, and of course it does the Disney's Hercules movie with the it after you cut it off, it seemingly dies first, and then the head started sprouting.
Yeah.
Versus like in the movie when that head starts happening.
That's really in the Hercules one. That's probably the best Hydra thing ever because it's just a cool fucking aesthetic, all the gross gooey like skin and flesh coming out of it, and it's so fucking cool looking.
Yeah.
But this one was very boring. Yeah,
it really was.
It was just a boring monster fight that didn't have any context. It was completely pointless, but just wanted to have an action sequence. Yeah. I guess because they knew the first one wasn't too actiony, and this Lotus Eaters thing isn't too actiony either.
I felt like though they could have ironically put in more action in here.
Yeah.
Like, the idea that they're not going to let prey get away. You could have easily given us some, like, security guard fights.
Yeah, and also this all just reminds me, like, what the, in the Odyssey, I'm trying to think of all the adaptations and all the movies and made-for-TV movies I've seen of it. I'm like, what the hell was the Lotus Eater's plan? I'm like, wait, what, did it just want people there? Was it, like, Cersei where she was turning them into food for herself? Or was it, like, were they literally just, like, some weird island with a bunch of drug addicts? I think it might have been just an island of, like, weird drug addicts just, like, laid around, and he was just like, hey, we gotta get back to the mission, everybody, I gotta get back home, so wake up. I think it might be just, like,
maybe it's one of those, like It things where it's, like, they gain power based on, like...
people being hypnotized or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, like, people's, like basically feed on their eternal joy and
yeah,
youth.
possibly. I think it's probably whatever, the up to interpretation of whoever's reading the thing. But yeah, I liked it. The casino aspect was it looked fun. It looked really silly.
It did.
Grover being his dumb dance sequence was stupid, but it was still funny.
Though, these kids just straight up walked into a casino, no problem.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess that's the point.
I
mean, like, yeah.
Didn't in the book, did they have to, like, walk into, like more arcadey...
I think it was more like an actual like arcade aimed at children, and then like the guy he does find the guy who's like, oh no, this is a fucking, I've been here since the 70s. Another guy, he's like, I've been here since like the 20s. I think he does like eventually see somebody who's like almost like Greek times, like ancient, like he's been there forever, and he's like, oh shit, that's what this is. And then they figure it out, but in this, like, once again, the fucking Poseidon ghost whispers in his ear the plot, saying, no, this is the plot that's going on. Like, and he just breaking this rule doing that shit anyway. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was just like, that was dumb. And then the way he found out was the Final Frontier was the movie.
French Connection.
The French Connection. I'm sorry, Percy Jackson has not watched the French Connection.
Yeah, I think I saw that movie from the 70s.
It's a 1971 movie.
Yeah. No,
bullshit. It's not a 40-year-old movie.
Yeah,
like
no, that's ridiculous. 40. That's the movie's like.
Well, at the time, that movie
40.
was 40.
Yeah, 40. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's 2010.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane for him to want to watch that.
Yeah, and like, the problems I had too, like, it just.
It was the lotuses did look delicious, and
the
part that it did look fun, and I could see how like the thing them being hypnotized and drug addicted, be like, oh, this is great, let's stay here.
I just hate the fact that it's a
was
casino.
great book accurate. Yeah,
like, I mean, it was a blatant casino.
Yeah.
They find the pearl
on the roulette table, yeah.
Which is just there.
Just sitting out. That's
very easy to get.
That's the stupidest one, I think.
Yeah, and then like he straight up plays craps.
Yeah,
and everyone cheers.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
There's slot machines.
Yeah,
the really
also we never see them
old...
really playing. They're not really like using the money or anything like that. So like that they like addicted to doing that. But they actually have an arcade and like pinball and shit.
They have an arcade machine there. Why aren't they playing there? That's the cool place.
Yeah, that's what they should be. I think that's what they were in the thing. They were like drinking sodas and like playing games, and they're just like, oh, this is great. I don't think they were literally loaded. I think the idea of like the literal like lotuses that they're eating, I think that might be from the movie, which is an actual really good point.
That wouldn't work. I thought that worked.
Yeah, that actually does. Yeah, it makes sense. And like the weird little delicious looking cookie thing or whatever the fuck that is.
And it's like, that's what kind of keeps them in that stupor, and then opens them up. That I had no problem with, and it's a visual, blatant, in your face moments that if they were younger, it would make even more sense that they may not get that immediate
100%,
connection.
100%.
But yeah, eventually, he gets woken up by Percy or Poseidon, and then he's able to instantly get them away until security guards notice and straight up say, Percy Jackson is awake.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. And they start like jumping, tackling them, they're beating the shit out of these guys with like canes and like hooks and fucking their book bags, and that's a fun little scene of them beating regular people up.
Yeah, but yeah, it could have been a great action scene.
Could have been, but it was a whatever action scene after a fairly good scene.
And they then drive a car through the, the car.
Another car for them to jack because they love jacking cars. That's all they do.
And has enough gas in it for them to drive. And like, I'm sorry, they drove out of the casino onto the road. And no cops or nothing noticed this?
Nope, nobody saw them.
Nobody saw this drive through traffic as normal.
Yeah, it was very silly. But then they're back on the road and they realize, oh no, it's been like 4 days or 3 days or 5 days. 5 days.
It's like 5 days, and they have the deadline is that night or tomorrow night or something.
Yeah, we have no time to. I forgot even about the deadline.
I think it was the day. I think it's tomorrow.
The 21st is their deadline. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 20th.
Yeah, and so they have to do that 4-hour drive between Vegas and LA, which I did do, and it is a slog. It's just like flat plains all the way across for like mile for like 4 hours. It's ridiculous looking. But
of course they made it in the middle of the night, having been probably dead awake for 5 days.
Yeah, no aspect of that tired them out.
Exactly. No problem.
But yeah, then they finally discover, the entrance is in Hollywood. It's on the actual, the Hollywood sign, which is ridiculous.
But it's not actually on the Hollywood sign. It's next to it, randomly in a dirt patch.
A pile of dirt just in the entrance of the underworld. But also, I was going to say, there is a plot point in the books that demigod children from New York do not go to California for some reason. And they never really address it. And then they say, it must be because of the entrance to the Hades thing or whatever. But the actual reason is because the Roman camp is located in California. And it is on the opposite side of the country, and they are not allowed to get in contact with each other because they do, fight on contact, and they will kill each other. And, there is a separate mist layer that separates the Greek heroes on their journeys from the Roman heroes on their journeys. So they do not actually cross paths, and if they do, they, immediately start, war fighting and almost kill each other every time.
Oh.
And so it's an actual reason that's why the demigod children never go to California or the West Coast, because that's, most where all the Roman adventures and stuff are happening.
Huh.
So, yeah, it's a very cool thing. But then you
get east side is Greek side.
Yeah, Greek side.
East side.
Yeah, it's fun.
Ooh.
It's the best side. Beast side. And the worst side, west side. Anyway, but yeah, it's a fun, cool plot aspect they don't really go into in this movie, obviously not. But they go into the entrance, they see Chiron, the fucking boatman, played by the actor who played Death in Supernatural, who's an amazing actor in tons and tons of stuff.
He was kind of a dick for he was a real jerk.
Yeah.
It was here's all this money, and he just burst in flames.
Yeah.
He could have straight up been like, I only take Chiron.
I forgot earlier the drachma.
Drachma.
They call it drachma in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's why I call it drachma.
Ah.
Yeah. But yeah, they have that money from where did they get that? The fountain in
Medusa? They went to Medusa's fountain. She just sees 5 drachmas, picks them up, and hands them to Percy. And good thing she did, because otherwise...
Also, why did they forget about that? Was that before or after they found out they were in Medusa's lair?
That was before.
Then what the fuck did they
That's how they knew they were on the right way.
Oh, this must be correct. Okay, they didn't realize.
Yeah, we're on the right path.
Yeah, they realized something fucked up's happening there.
Yeah. And, so... this was... I was like... I'm trying to remember.
No.
Yeah, how did the Greek satyr not also know about the boatman and how to properly go to the underworld?
It's also not really clear if, if he's actually a teen, he's only been around for 15, 16 years or whatever like that, really, he's not, from ancient times, because, that would be a fun thing to clarify, because what happened to Ferdinand, the full satyr, did he die recently from Medusa?
There's no way he recently
died. If it was recently, then he should definitely have fucking known that Medusa was there.
Well, I feel again, if he's a protector or whatever of one of the biggest, most powerful gods, he should know something.
Yeah, also we found out, I guess, in the second one, he's a kid, 10 years ago, so he is their age, actually. So
that's right, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And, but also, too, the goddess of... the daughter of the goddess of wisdom doesn't realize how to bribe the boatman properly.
Yeah, you need the fucking drachma.
She was so pointless in this movie.
She was never smart. She never did anything smart. She didn't figure out any of the puzzles or
she did nothing. Percy did everything. The only thing that she did was nag.
Yeah.
She was oh, it's awful.
A very shittily written female character from the early teens, late aughts.
Yeah.
She was just actiony and didn't have anything actual helpful to contribute, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, they give Chiron the money, and then they drive through weird, inaccurately hellish looking underworld.
That's what I was gonna. I literally wrote that down. I was like, this looks just like unnecessarily like hell.
Yeah, because literally the Greek myth is the regular level Hades is just where neutral souls go, people who can't cross the bridge because they weren't buried properly. They're just in a dreary cave area. And then there's the Elysium Fields, which is their good area for heroes, which is where the actual dead heroes and gods and stuff like that go when they die or they can be visited. And then there's Tartarus, which is where bad people and really ridiculously awful people and all the monsters and evil gods go to when they die. And those are there's the 3 different levels of hell of Hades, that different aspects of it, and that's not addressed at all. It's just
Isn't technically a 4th one that's if you make it to the Fields of Elysium, you can choose to reanimate. And if you earn passage there 3 times after living a good enough life to make it there, you can go to a super level.
I think there might be, because there's also the level of becoming a hero and going to Olympus. So I don't know, but there's there's a lot of different aspects to it. But this one was just a weird, evil, hellish looking thing that didn't make any sense.
Overly.
And one of the funnest aspects I like from the later books in this series is that they go to Tartarus, and then they realize oh, Tartarus is the name of the how Hades is the name of the area, but also the god that runs it. Tartarus is the fucking ancient titan, Kronos and Gaia and all them. Tartarus is Uranus is space, and Gaia is the earth, and Tartarus is the underworld. And they realize that they've been walking around in this weird like hell. We're like, no, we're literally on top of Tartarus. The being and the plane are all the same. This is like they're actually on the actual area. And like that's where all the monsters and shit are, and like all the monsters from all of time are there, from all aspects and all kinds of things. It's really, really fun. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
And that's Tartarus. Like, since I've been obsessed with Tartarus and like all kinds of like supernatural stuff, or whenever like monster stuff is involved, I always love it because Tartarus is the one that made all the evil giant gods or evil monsters that are with Gaia and their kids, and it's just like a whole bunch of really fun aspects of Greek mythology. I love the hierarchies of it, and like all that's really fucking fascinating. But yeah, Tartarus is one of my favorite aspects of it, and it's just like a weird whole everything looks like a Christian hell looking area. It's just,
and like
doesn't make sense.
Like honestly, it literally looked like a hell. It didn't even look like a proper underworld because like everyone there's burning, everyone's on fire.
Yeah.
You know,
they didn't mention Elysian Fields or like anything like that. Kyron was just like, everything's sad.
I mean,
bad.
Say what you will about the inaccuracies of the Disney's version, but like, it was like that was dreary and gloomy.
Yeah.
It was like that feels like the proper way of the underworld,
yeah.
the proper underworld.
Yeah, that's like the neutral. That's the neutral level is like the depressing black caves. Where you're just if you're neutral or weren't buried properly, that's where you are. Yeah, and it's just like it's a really cool visual. That's why all I'm thinking about is all the fucking skateboard missions I had to do in Kingdom Hearts 2 in the 80s, and that's like that aesthetic of everything around there was so fucking fun, and I loved it.
Yeah, like that was a good moment. And this was just like
it's just very weird,
hell.
a very like lazy, clunky, afterlife looking thing that didn't make any sense and wasn't explained properly.
Yeah, but I will say the one thing they got right about this.
Yeah.
Was that house.
Yeah, Hades' house looked amazing.
It looked modern, but not like generic. It had it looked like ironically it didn't even look that it didn't even look that too lived in, which also kind of makes sense that it's well kept but not like used.
Yeah, it was like mildly edgy, but like it was interesting in the actual when you see Hades that makes sense and everything makes sense. What doesn't make sense is why Persephone is there in June, which does not make sense because Persephone is only supposed to be there for winter, and that is the point. Is that all the other seasons she's fine, she's with her mother Demeter, the goddess of nature, and then after she's rescued from Hades, she has to go back to be with him every winter, and that's why everything turns cold and everything dies and the whole world shuts down because winter is caused by Demeter being upset that her daughter is gone. And I think Persephone might be the goddess of winter or something like that, also in some aspects. But like the point of winter is that she's down in Hades and then she's back, and then her mom's like, "Yay!" And so
was she in the book at this point?
No, she's not there. In the book, she's not there. It's just Hades there because it doesn't make sense for her to be there. So, but also, she's like weird and also super horny. It's Rosario Dawson, so it's a welcome change, but still.
I mean, I love the character and design. Like outside of all the inaccuracies, yeah. I thought she played that character great.
Oh, it was a very interesting take on Persephone, yeah, and it makes sense because she wouldn't want to be there. She's there against her will, and it sucks.
Yeah. I will say too, it was also nice, with them casting Steve Coogan, who was great as Hades.
Oh yeah.
For them to cast a character, an actor of color.
Finally, one of the gods actually dressed like
Yes, it was like, oh hey, we have a little bit of diversity, and it's not everyone's just pure white.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a nice touch because it felt like, not just generic.
Yeah. Also, that's another aspect of like the in Camp Akba. There's tons of people of all different kinds of races in there. Like I said, one of my favorite guys is last name Tanaka, who's Nemesis's kid, and there's a whole bunch of there's Asian kids, there's black kids, there's all kinds of other stuff. And then you find out
not in the movie. Everyone is white as snow.
Except for the Satyr, who's not related to them at all.
Right.
And then even in the all the other series, I always keep mentioning it, the Jason series with the Olympians, his friends are, I think there's a black female protagonist with him. There's also a Hispanic dude with him who's also really fucking fantastic. There's so many really cool, and also later the Apollo series. He's running around with this this girl who's Latina, and she's really fucking funny and really a big piece of shit. But he's just completely upset all the time and being harassed and being annoyed. And it's just there's so much fun diversity in the series that it's not there at all. But the Disney Plus series has already shown that they're incredibly diverse with their casting.
Awesome.
So I'm very looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Hades. Some really shitty looking hellhounds that have really cattails. I'm like, what the hell these dogs look like? They look like pants or something like that. Also, not Cerberus, lame.
Yeah,
Cerberus there because Cerberus wasn't.
And again, they call them hellhounds.
Yeah,
hellhounds.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Ugh, fucking hell. Yeah, but that was dumb.
And then let's say, we meet Persephone, and she says, "My husband's over here." And then we finally meet him, and he's a cool fucking, like depressed, down on his luck, annoyed, but like stressed out rocker dude. He's just like, "Hey, I'm kind of edgy, but yeah, I'm Hades. Say it's me."
For some reason, Grover would talk to him like he was an old boy. Like, that's it? Yeah, I think you'd be bigger. It's like, he is the lord of the fucking underworld.
Yeah, why doesn't he try with you? He doesn't need to try with anybody. Who cares?
Like,
it's so stupid.
Why
It's
would
just
you
when
talk to him like
he just wanted like the gag of like, oh, this is a god, and he's like, I'm the big monster. He's like, oh, he's a monster.
Yeah.
So dumb.
And then it's what a bunch of dumb stuff happens that around a really cool set and really great actor.
Yeah, they reveal that the lightning bolt is actually in the arm piece. Now, this is what I wanted to say for now. In the book, the reason that Hades is sending monsters after him, like he is sending monsters to him and tricking them into going to places where monsters are, is because he does not care about the lightning staff. The lightning staff was stolen from Zeus, and from Hades was this helm of invisibility. And that is why he is even bothering with her. Because he says, Zeus is like, you have a kid, and he stole my lightning, and then he said, he stole your lightning, then that's probably where my goddamn helmet went. And so he's just like, Percy, give me back the helmet and give me the lightning, or I'm going to kill you. Or I took your mom, and all these monsters are going to keep following you. And we find out later in this same scene that Luke is the one who gave them the lightning bolt. It's inside of the shield. I don't know why he gave it to them, because I guess the point is he doesn't care about the lightning bolt either. But the point of the shoes, the flying shoes that he gave them, is they were supposed to forcibly take Percy and the lightning bolt to Kronos in Tartarus. So he was supposed to put the shoes on in Hades, and then they would have flew him to Tartarus and then to the thing. But he just didn't put the shoes on there, and so that didn't happen. So yeah, Luke's plan was to get the lightning bolt to Kronos, and then Kronos was going to break out of Hades and fuck shit up. And the reason he was able to even get around everything like that was because he had the helm of his invisibility, which he stole from Hades.
That makes sense.
So that's why all that happened. That's why that it makes sense. And Hades is not a villain. He's not the antagonist of this series. He's just someone who was also wronged, as usual. Yeah. But no, since this movie's very lazy and shorthanded, that they make Hades the villain, and so he's just like, I'm evil. I want to beat my brothers up.
It was so annoying, too. Like, I want to fuck my brothers. Like, this is not
I'm going to start a war.
This is
like,
not the Disney...
yeah.
Wait a minute. It's on Disney Plus.
They got him at the end. They'll correct it, I'm sure. But yeah, like it's such a bigger plan, and the Kronos plot is supposed to be going through all these books until the end of the Percy Jackson series. It's all about Kronos rising to power and using Luke and other heroes to do that. And it's just completely dropped. But yeah, he grabs the lightning, and then Persephone just grabs it from him, and then zaps him, and then he's handled.
Yeah, literally, Deus Ex Persephone.
Yeah,
just lets everyone go. Oh yeah, Hades decides to show off the mom and free her from that instead of be like, she's in this, you know.
If you want her to do this, no, just
because you can't. I'm the only one who could break it to open, free her.
Yeah, no, he just forces them against the wall of souls or to be beaten by the hellhounds, and then she just takes it from him and zaps him, and then desummons everything and says, "Okay, you guys can go."
Oh, but only 3 of you can go because you only got 3 pearls.
Yeah, I think in the book, I think there were 4 at one point. Something happens to one of them. I think it either gets destroyed or somebody steals it or something happens. Yeah. Oh no, I think Luke pops up in Hades and then steals one and uses it to escape, and that's why they're one short. I think I'm not 100%.
Yeah, like again, they have the daughter of the goddess of wisdom, and they just realized. We're going to Hades to save your mom. All 3 of us are going to add someone else to our party, and we don't need to get a 4th pearl for her.
Yeah.
Which they wouldn't have been able to do anything because there's only apparently 3.
Only 3 exist.
3 in the U.S. at the time.
Yeah.
Which, that feels also like bullshit.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Especially because one was apparently just up in a thing in Athena's temple,
just sitting there,
in Tennessee, like... The only thing I can justify the Lotus one is maybe someone...
Maybe she goes there, but that wouldn't make it... She could just go there.
Like, maybe someone was there that had one a long time ago.
Maybe, yeah.
And it's been kept there ever since.
If that was addressed, that would have made sense, yeah. 100%.
So, maybe they just like, oh, hey, this is a cool ball.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Persephone's not there. I'm pretty sure either it's stolen or there's some other reason for why they don't have enough at the end of the book, I'm pretty sure.
So...
But yeah,
don't worry, it's not getting a result.
Who cares? Yep. Also, who cares? They say, what are we gonna do? And Grover's like, I'm the protector, I'll stay. And then Rosario Dawson's like, oh, I'm gonna have sex with you. And he's like, oh, okay, get out of here, guys.
Literally.
Yeah, and then they just stop on the pearls until take us to Olympus, and then they pop up on the Empire State Building.
And of course, Percy is like, what? This is where we're supposed to go. We're all in the wrong place.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they knew already that their seat of power was in America on that. The Greek side is in New York, and that's why that's there.
But it's also annoying because it's like, you thought of Olympus, and those took you here. Put 2 and 2 together, my dude.
Yeah, no, they didn't take you to the wrong place, you idiot. Look, which one of you idiots was thinking about going to New York?
Right.
Funny.
and then, surprisingly, they have 10 minutes until the deadline.
Yeah.
They just randomly teleported outside of the underworld at this point. And Luke just happens to fly over as he knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, he also has another pair of shoes that he's just wearing because that was a plot thing. Oh, he has multiple of them. Who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like flying around there and just like, me, I'm the lightning thief, TM, and it's just like, okay, great.
Which in the book didn't Ares tell him where it was properly?
Yeah, he said, "Oh, well, you idiot! I know you're not the thief." I think he knew he wasn't the thief. He knew that and the reason that Ares attacks him is because. Yeah, I want a war of the gods because then I'll be fucking powered as hell. That's awesome. Yeah. And so he wants another war so he'll be powered up. And that's why he's like fucking up like that.
Yeah, that's why. But that's how Percy finds out. Remember that. It's Ares straight up tells him, you got... you know you're not the thief, but you got it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think he might have even known about the plan for the thing to go to Kronos, possibly. I'm not sure. But he's like, fuck it. And then Percy actually beats him in a fight with his Poseidon powers. And then he's like, okay, fine, you can go. It's a very fucking cool ass scene, but that's not. They just teleport back to the fucking thing, and then they're all fine.
Yeah. Well, then they have the.
Percy, and this is the scene, where the fucking Annabeth starts like swinging on Luke, even though in the book she completely could not. Even when he was revealed to be the villain, she would not attack him because she just knew him personally. She cared about him, and also I think alluded to having like crush on him possibly when they were kids. And so she also does not want to attack him because of that. But who cares about that? She fucking starts swinging on him. He beats her up, and he flies away in his shoes.
Well, he flies. He gets the lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Stares at it. Talks to them, and is like stormtroopers, like stormtroopers.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, I can't barely talk. Just misses terribly time and time again. But like blowing massive chunks off of this building.
Yeah. A huge giant lightning fight, and it's just like.
And then he's like, he's making these attacks. Like, dude, you have the lightning bolt. Go away.
Yeah. But also, he explains his plan is because we're going to overthrow the gods. That's my plan. That period. There's no aspect of getting revenge on them for not caring about the kids. There's nothing about Kronos. There's nothing about really anything. But, like, we're going to overthrow the gods and the heroes will rule. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
But also, like, that doesn't even make sense because literally, like, they allude that a lot of powerful politicians and actors and rulers and people like that right now currently are children of various gods from various aspects, but like that's not applied in this thing. He's just like, no, we'll rule now. And it's just like these like 12 Greek gods aren't ruling shit. They're just kind of just like sitting around, not doing anything. And
they're literally doing nothing.
Yeah, and they're objectively not even the most powerful forms because the Roman ones technically are stronger. So it's just like
yeah, it was dumb. And then Luke does stupid things, and then finally he does fly away up to the top, very very tippy top. Why?
Because there was lightning right. I don't fucking know. This is just to be cool. This is for cool, a cool shot.
So, but Percy, of course, realizes he's got his own pair of shoes to put on. So he puts them on and yells Luke before he running into him, making the sneak attack pointless.
Of course.
Again, because no one barely knows how to use a goddamn sneak attack in this movie.
Yeah, no, everyone looked like shot. Even Luke showed up, he's like, Percy Jackson, as opposed to just, like, beating them up.
Yeah. And then, like... And then they're like fighting and flying around. And,
yeah, like with Dragon Ball Z flying around the laser fight.
I will say I thought that like the
effects weren't bad. Yeah, for 2010, not bad.
Yeah, and they like when he flew into the parking garage and there was like the lightning going around. I thought that was a really cool looking scene. Yeah. Though at one point I thought this is a little Amazing Spider-Man 2. I need to hear some like crazy techno music.
What the fuck was a dumbass song playing when he was zapping around lasers? That would be funny. It was like ECB Spider or something like that. Like, and then he fucking knocks him out. It's like
I think I know what the song was. Now. We're no strangers to love.
Oh God, shut up.
Everyone just looked over at me.
Oh God.
You know the rules, and so do I.
He's singing "What They're Never Gonna Give You Up." Rick Astley song.
I just rickrolled the audience.
Oh God.
All three of them.
I'm so sorry, audience. Oh jeez. But yeah, they fight and eventually they land on top. He's like, I guess you're not the son of Poseidon.
And then, of course, he
bursts a bunch of water towers on top of the building.
Yeah, no one apparently sees this.
No one.
No one's going to be affected by multiple water towers being obliterated.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, so the way those work, I found out, is that the water sent in and is pumped up through booster pumps into that, and then it goes down and it goes through the building using gravity, and it will loop back and it gets shot. So basically, they'll have booster pumps that go up the side of the tower to pull it there, and they use gravity otherwise. So, yeah, a lot of people just lost all their access to water, and eventually you're going to have water coming out elsewhere.
Yeah, that's gonna fuck up in New York for a couple days.
A lot of places there are super fucked.
Really fucked up, Percy.
Yeah. Oh, but he drowned. Of course, he didn't fully drown.
No, he kind of like puts him in a big water bubble, like one of the shitty things from Avatar, the movie. And
It's like those 4 guys did to Zhao.
Yeah, the fucking guys just put him in a bubble or whatever the fuck they did.
Put him in a bubble for a second, and then he drops dead.
Yep, he's
Unlike
dead.
what it was in the show, where he gets picked up, and you find out what really happens to him.
Oh yeah, Zhao the Conqueror,
great.
Zhao the Moonslayer.
You know, we shouldn't talk about this too much. I want Chris to be here.
Oh,
Chris,
his favorite movie.
podcast.
Yeah, I feel bad for not letting him his favorite movie.
Yeah, and you know, on his own merits, he thinks that this is a fantastic film.
He thinks that the Zhao death was excellently done. I'm gonna be so upset if he ever listens to this. We probably won't. But yeah, he flings him like all the way across the city into the water, which I'm pretty sure would kill him.
So, also, he threw a trident at him.
Yeah,
how convenient is it?
he threw him back, got him on the neck, and threw him into the
So
water.
he hit him in the neck and threw him across the city by the neck
into the lake, and then kind of just forgot about him. I guess he assumed he was dead. I don't know.
I mean, spoiler alert, he's not.
Of course.
He doesn't. I will say, I thought like that was a pretty good moment. Like the second movie when you see him again, it's like
in the first like 20 minutes of the movie, he's just like, "Hey, I want to make sure someone's fucking dead if you try to drown him, idiot."
He's like, if you're gonna drown somebody, make sure they're not a demigod who can swim.
Yeah, very funny.
That's not how that works.
I think
but
it's just a funny gag.
That was a great line, though. But yeah, there's just a Deus Ex Luke. The good thing, the shoes got knocked off.
Yeah. Did he get knocked off?
Yeah, they got knocked off.
I didn't even see that.
Because Percy got his cut by Luke tossing and cutting off the wings.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good thing that Luke happened to have his shoes come flying.
Oh,
his Converse got taken off while he was in the water bubble.
Yeah, fortunately. Thank goodness. Well, yeah, he lands into there, and then what happens? Like, so he like flies back, and they say, "We have 2 minutes left."
Yep.
And then they see that they have a gigantic. They go through the portal. Once again, his mom's trapped by the thing.
Oh, don't forget though that she somehow knows how to open the goddamn doors to Olympus, and even if she can't get through a portal there, she still can get into fucking Olympus.
Yep, she can still just walk right up to the thing and see the actual thing, even though she's a regular mortal.
And you can see, you look like my book here, all fucking giant ass caps.
Yeah.
Everything is old time Greek. Do they not understand the point of the books?
Yeah.
Because why were they all giant in here? And they were all, and then the humans were tiny.
And just like their old school selves. But yeah, in the thing, they all have modern outfits, modern takes on like different modern concepts. Like
yes,
a modern fisherman. One is a modern military dude. One is a modern like actress looking beauty. And they do have normal concurrent like realistic.
Which is one of the reasons I love the second one. Like when you get to see Hermes, you know, he's
Nathan
working at
Fillion's
FedEx.
doing amazing. Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah,
and you see him like in charge of it, and he looks like a goddess of messaging. Yeah, like that was what I was expecting, but not a bunch of people and a bunch of
have a lot more fun in this
weird ass leather and robe outfits.
Yeah, stupid as hell.
With no distinguishing features among any of them. Yeah. Anyone, you could have told me any one of them was anybody, and I would have believed.
It wasn't clear who was who, except for that one guy who's like, when he says Hermes.
Right,
but that's it. None of them are addressed, except for Athena's actress, I guess. We
know who Athena is because
she's like, "Hey, daughter," like the first time they're meeting, which isn't how it's supposed to be, which sucks.
Also, they said, it's like, listen now, Athena.
Yeah.
Don't try to stop us two gods from fighting.
Yeah, very stupid. And so that happens. They get the thing, they get the ball, and he's just like, give me that, you thief. You're okay, I won't kill you. Bye.
Well, no, he's like, give me the bolt. And they're like, why'd you steal it? He's like, I didn't. Luke did. Son of Hermes. Hermes is like, He's like, well, you did good. So, and then he asks for a favor, and it gets granted. And Grover probably, That was probably really awkward.
Yeah.
If he was, depending on where he and Persephone were at, that would have been super awkward. He just pops right into the back of the middle of Camp Half-Blood.
Pants around his ankles. That'd be funny. Anyway.
Especially if it was at, like, right at the climax. In the middle of the fire circle, he just pops up and just splat all over the ground.
Oh, God. That would have been a funny scene. But
We need the R-rated version. Which is, it doesn't leave the underworld until Grover does. We just see the whole Persephone and Grover sex scene.
Yeah, perfect.
Shot, of course, though, shot by the masterful porn artist. Tommy was.
Oh, God. You want my roses played the whole time. Oh, God.
And then at the very end, there's an end credit scene where he goes to buy a bunch of flowers from the Medusa shop.
He gets frozen again. That'd be funny. But no, they give the lightning back. He brings Grover back from the dead, and then his father says, "I'm proud of you, Percy." And he's just like, "Well, okay." And then he kind of
like, "Fuck you, Dad."
Yeah, and he's like, "You're not my dad. I don't know him at all." And then he kind of says, like, "Oh, I wish I could." And
I wish I could, but Zeus is apparently the true only god who has any say and power here.
Yeah,
and everyone's a little bit afraid of him.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's very dumb. It's so stupid, that whole aspect. And he did, like I said, in this scene is when he told him, "I have one request. Make sure all the gods acknowledge their kids," because the reason Luke did this is because you guys are like not representing you're not giving your kids their attention or what they need or whatever the hell. It's a very cool, good message about abandoning people like that. But no, he just kind of like goes back to camp and everything's fine. And they have another repeat scene of the intro of him like walking around almost getting killed by archers.
Yep. Though I will say I wrote this down because when at first they're talking, Poseidon is still giant and Percy's tiny.
Yeah.
And it's super awkward.
What was
looking.
that? The Gods of Egypt. Now, that would have been a fun movie to watch.
I haven't seen that one.
You didn't see that the whole movie, the Egyptian gods, who are played by like 80% white people, are literally like, I would say 20 feet tall, 15, 20 feet, and like the whole movie, and they have like the little humans with them, and they're just kind of like little humans running around the whole movie with these gigantic gods, and it's very stupid.
Yeah.
But also, the movie in general was just very bad.
So, yeah, of course, there was a sex allegory at the end there. This one, though, yeah.
Yeah.
You get to meet another, "Oh, you got this!"
Yeah.
And she, of course, he's like, "You think you're going to kiss?" And then she grabs his sword and one-ups him just like he did her.
Yeah, how cute.
Yeah, and then they fight, and how great of a hero it was.
Yeah. But then a real hero of the movie, Joey Pants, comes back at the end.
And he gets kicked out of his... He said that was his house.
Yeah, it was very confusing if that was his house or Percy's mom's house.
But he apparently...
Also, shouldn't get a better apartment in fucking New York than that after all that shit.
That's actually a big-ass apartment, though.
In New York, that's absurd. Yeah, I think it was absurd in New York.
That was
expensive as hell. But you could have had a fancier one still. Also, what the fuck does she do? I can't remember if they were just the chicks he does for a living in the books.
I don't remember. She's like...
I guess it's a kid movie, so they never just what the fuck the parents do.
Well, they say Joey Pants can't get a job. Can't hold the job down.
Yeah.
So there's no way he can afford that big of an apartment in New York City.
Yeah.
Bull fucking shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, of course, there's a note on the fridge that says, "Do not open ever, ever, ever Percy," and there's a lock on it. So, of course, he easily one hit busts it off.
Yeah, opens it, and then Medusa, funny shot.
That was a good, funny, great shot.
That was a good end of the movie. Okay, and that is the end of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. A very mid movie that was a very shitty adaptation of an amazing series.
It really was.
Yeah. Also, I was gonna say, Ed, do you have any interest in picking up the books if you ever get around to it? I don't know.
Pick the new ones or the
any of them. Technically, I guess if you could probably start at the Jason series. Like I said, it goes.
I would
Percy Jackson, and then immediately is I forget what it's called, but maybe like Lost Olympians or something like that. But it's Jason's books, and then immediately after that, the plot goes right into the Apollo books, where Apollo's turned into a human and has to like be normal and like go to Half-Blood and be like pissed off. But he's a very fun, crazy character. But like those three are together. But then, like I said, there's the Magnus Chase, which is Norse stuff, and then there is the Egyptian ones, which I can't remember the name of. And then there is a couple of other series that are just like other like fantasy aspects in that same world of things that aren't gods and things that are like the gods are from different nations and stuff like that, and how they work and function and stuff like that. It's very cool. I was gonna say there was a funny bit because like there's the aspect of like, wait, if all these gods exist, like how do things function if something happens to one of them, because in the beginning of the Apollo book, when he turns into a human, he's just like, okay, reader. He constantly addresses the reader because it's told from the first person. And he's just like, okay, reader, I'm sure you're wondering, but Apollo, if you're down here, who's pulling the sun across the sky? Because it's not Helios anymore, because you took that from Helios when you defeated that Titan. He's like, well, don't worry, even if I'm down here, Quetzalcoatl's still living off of old blood sacrifices, Ra's still running his chariot, and then there's that whole thermonuclear physics thing, but who cares about that? And so, like, all the actual gods are affecting all the aspects that they actually affect in this weird reality and, like, the way they actually mesh. And it's also very fun, like, metaphysical weirdness about how it actually works, and it's always very...
So basically, it's like the Apollo version of himself is humanized, but all the other versions of himself
all the other versions
exist.
of all the other gods are still doing their own thing, and also just, like science is also, I guess, helping who cares. But, like, it's just, like, it's very fun to see, like, oh, yeah, that is fucked up. Like, how that felt this works. Like,
that was cool.
I think he did say, like, what are those the two wolves that, like, in Norse mythology that tasted the sun and the moon, and like they're doing their thing, and he's like, yeah, don't worry, the sun will be fine, guys, don't worry. It's just like, but yeah, it's such a fun book series. I really think you should check it out if you get. But there's, of course, like any book series, there's a ton of them. They're not too long. I think they're like fairly.
They're all young adults, I know. But
yeah, they're young adult for the most part.
I do own the first 5 of these Percy Jackson books. I would see. Unlike my wife, who can down a book and all that, it's harder for me to focus on them now. Plus, what little free time I get, I usually stream.
Oh yeah, true.
So, but I'm interested at least picking up these 5 again.
Yeah, or like watching like a very, very long, like several hours long YouTube synopsis of it or something.
Yeah. And honestly, I will say too, like the second movie, like I know it's definitely not perfect. I'm sure. You know, if I were to go back and look at all the differences between the book and the movie, I'm sure there's plenty. But I thought the second one, it was good at the very least because it felt like it tried. This one didn't feel like it tried.
No, they're definitely like making up for the mistakes that they made. They're definitely improving. Tone-wise, it's funnier.
They had some
gods-wise, they're actually more accurate.
They had some fucked up casting though because
Clarice alone is bad.
Clarice looked like Annabeth,
yeah.
Like completely. Like when I first saw it again, I was like, Is that Annabeth he's talking to like that? And then like Clarice, I'm like, finally we have Clarice. Wait, why did they look exactly the same?
Yeah, and he just dyed Annabeth's hair partially blonde so they could tell the characters apart, I guess, which is still...
Why
would you not even try to even cast like somebody who looks like the book version? And give her the personality of the book version.
She just looks like, and it sounds so bad to say, but she looks so conventionally attractive that she's not.
It's not, yeah.
Like, that does not look like someone who is the true, like, supposed, strongest of the camp.
Yeah.
She just looks like a generic girl.
Yeah, it's very bad casting, but then, like, there's tons of bad casting in the whole series, in the whole book series, but fingers crossed for Disney to pull their shit together and make something really good and fascinating.
Yeah. Uma Thurman needs to return as Medusa, though.
She was perfect. She was perfect in everything, but she was really, really good in this movie, I'll say that.
She
was very campy, which is her tone and the campiness she brought is what the second one has for, like, everything, I think, almost. Like, a lot of things are much more funny and campy and, like, ridiculous and heightened, which is what they should have been, yeah.
Yeah, like, I thought, like...
Like, Stanley Tucci's Dionysus, I couldn't see him at the end of that stupid scene in this first movie we watched. Like, sitting around in a robe going, Just like all the others, just, like, cockily fucking, like, just not doing anything.
They replaced Pierce Bronson with someone who actually gives a shit
the
about...
dude who plays Giles from Buffy, who's great in anything. So yeah.
Guy who plays his brother, the Cyclops in the second one.
Yeah.
Even though, like, physically he's not the right size and build, I thought like the actor played a good job of being someone who was just kind of like naive.
Yeah,
like,
a little bit naive and a little bit awkward, but like
they smarted him up a bit too.
Yeah, they smarted him up because like he's like barely using sentence fragments in the book.
Yeah,
as like possibly weird as that could be, but he's like a pretty just normal, mildly inappropriate behavior guy who's just like a little bit goofy. But
and again, even Grover looked better.
Looked better. Yeah.
He looked like.
I think they toned down a little bit of his like shitty jokes too.
Well, like even as you said, like he was like more like nervous. You saw him like always kind of.
He felt like inferior to that other satyr who was like being really loud and big, and he's kind of like okay, they kind of played like okay, that's more like he's supposed to be.
Yeah, like and everything too, like this the look of the gods, the look of everybody in that movie was.
I'm curious. I'm probably gonna finish it once I'm on my own time or something, or maybe
it's worth it. It really is because it's.
I'm curious. Yeah, I know Kronos looks terrible at the end, but
I figured like if that's the worst part of it,
yeah.
And I said it's interesting, and it tries, and that's. It is a movie that tries, unlike this one. This one was literally a cash grab.
Yeah,
they literally hired the guy who did the first Harry Potter films.
Yeah, just to try to
Chris
really hit
Columbus.
those styles. So, yeah.
Like, yeah, this film had like no personality. It was literally, it did everything it could to make itself look flashy, but had no soul behind it.
Yeah, no, like I said before, the second one they make up for mistakes, they fix the tone, and that's what this movie. Because this one was so like they tried to make River funny, he wasn't particularly. Like I said, he had one like 30% of everything he said. Maybe chuckled once or twice, but other than that, it was really shitty. Like not even pop culture references, not even like non sequitur statements. Just like trying to be a cool fucking funny black guy from the early aughts, late teens or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
It was not very well written.
Yeah, which is a shame because I thought he played the character about as good as he could have done.
He was a perfectly fine version of that character. It was not book accurate. He could have been better written, but it could have been a fine take if it was better written.
And I think that's why, like in the second movie, he was so much better. It's because they gave him a proper script.
I think not just like going off of memory. I think they do give him more like nervous guy jokes and comedy and funny lines as opposed to like the confident shit he was trying to do in the
well, I mean, like even in the second book, like you got to see him like trick what's his name, the Cyclops.
Yeah.
And like that's a funny, like that is an objectively funny scene that he's pulling out. You know, like that whole thing is really freaking clever.
Polyphemus, that's it.
Yeah. Like, he's tricking Polyphemus and all that. Like that's really a great scene, and that shows, like you said, the more nervous side with someone who's kind of witty and quick wit and all that.
Yeah, I was gonna say back to the books, just to fucking spend more time on this. Do you remember which books or which like plot lines or things you like the most about it? Because like, I know that the my favorite book of the series was the Battle of the Labyrinth, where it's just Annabeth and Percy running around the Minotaur Labyrinth for like the entire book, but they keep popping up in random places and like of course every like random monsters, but like that's when you see shit like Campe, which is like a huge weird dragon woman monster that's like made of a bunch of other things like echidna and stuff like that, and then also Typhon's first like address I think in that one too, and it's like just so many cool fun aspects. That's when they finally meet Janus, the god of where roads split and trivia or something like that, Trivia or whatever. Like there's tons of really cool stuff in that book. I think that might be my favorite book of the series.
See, I don't remember a lot of the plot lines out from the first one.
I think also that one might be the one where Hera's the villain because she's like, you fucking bastards. I hate you all. Literally. I hate you
Which
bastards.
I'm fine with. I feel like that's more in character.
Makes sense, yeah.
You know,
I think she might have cursed them somehow, their marriage, or if they have tried to get married. I think she might have cursed like so they can't be together or something like that. But she's like, yeah, she really fucking hates them. It's really good.
I mean, she says she hates demigods.
Of course, yeah, but yeah, like that book is my favorite. But yeah, what do you remember of the final fight with the Kronos and all that stuff at the end?
I really don't remember a lot of anything.
Definitely, if you ever have the time, check out. Yeah, just try to find like a super
remember
long.
a lot of like the small stuff. I always remembered the characters. You notice, I think I remember from the book are their appearances.
Yeah.
Like I remember that because that was the coolest idea to me. You know, like the story could be almost anything at that point. And it's like you get this modern version of something, and the way it interacts with, it evolves into modern times while keeping true to itself.
And the appearance with the tone of the writing made it more. Everyone was funny and interesting, and it was just so good.
But yeah, this film is just soulless.
It's very bland and boring, and
it's so forgettable.
Yeah, a very bad early teens or late aughts attempt at like a serious teen book trying to catch it on the Harry Potter fame, but they didn't have any of the heart of at all of any of them. Like even I'm trying to think of the other ones. Lion and Witch in the Wardrobe had a lot of issues. The movie. I'm trying to think like Aragorn, that sucked. What was another one? That was another like teen.
There's been a bunch of them that have come out, like the Divergent series.
That's more like the Twilight cash-in stuff too. But that whole
Twilight,
era,
even another one.
That's something that we're glad that that whole era left behind a lot of the non-good series. But a lot of them did carry on for a while.
Like honestly, I think my biggest issue with a lot of these films is, because I watched Twilight with Leanne, and like the more I watched, like as I got into the movies, like by that I mean I got deeper into them, the more enjoyable they did get, because it was like you could tell there were people started putting a little bit more into the performances, and B, it also felt like people were taking themselves less serious, and that's where they had fun. Yeah, but they
tried. Actually own the characters and such, get in the actual skin of them and do stuff and be better written and act better, more improv stuff. It's just like when they get more into it, that's when they actually start being more enjoyable to watch.
and honestly, I was engaged by some of the odd characters, like in the third Twilight film that what's his, I don't remember his name, but the dude that Victoria creates to be like the leader of her army.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted that guy to be the freaking hero of the story.
Oh,
that guy was incredible.
I honestly went further and I read the books back when all I wanted was the werewolves or the shapeshifters. That whole tribe was incredibly fascinating, and whenever like they followed their like plot lines and stuff for a really long time, they were incredibly interesting. There was the one female in the pack who had like such a fucking tragic story, just because Stephanie Meyer's, how she is. But that character has such a tragic like story, and I really would have loved to see a book just following her, like leaving the pack and going to do something else, and even like would have been amazing. But like
there was like the funny part is the best part of some of those movies at times were these odd side characters with actors who, because they weren't burnt at times, like they gave it their all. Like even in the last one, those two dudes who were like, "Fuck the Altari."
Yeah,
we got to kill these people, or whatever they were. Like, those guys were incredible.
There was so much fun in that. We can't even talk. That movie, that last movie is fucking incredible on its own merit.
On its own fucking merit, because I kid you not, I saw that in the theater when he did his creepy ass laugh. I literally could not hold back a laugh, and I had to run to the bathroom because I was about to pee myself.
Oh god, the teen movie arc is very fascinating. It'd be fun to. All the movies like this one are fairly boring and mid for.
Yeah,
they're not even like poorly made; they're just like uninteresting, which is like, worse. Which is worse than a shitty bad movie like we have on our list a lot of. So.
To me, the truly worst kind of films are the ones that play it safe.
Yeah.
And try to broaden the appeal. Mm-hmm. Like in this one, the fact that they age the kids up to try to make it more appealing.
Get teens in, yeah.
It took it away from everybody. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like the more that they do it and then try to appeal to that bigger crowd, the more you actually like take away from the enjoyment of not only the specific crowd, but people who want to relive some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Kids, if you make something for older, like if you think about it, like there are kids, like Bluey is a perfect example of a kids show that adults really enjoy. South Park is popular, and Simpsons, and those are more adult humory shows because they're written for adults, but because they're written for adults, kids like to watch it to feel older at times.
Yeah, the best kind of tone. That's the best kind of tone to aim for, man. A lot of the movies during this time did not fucking hit at that.
Yeah, and even too, like, if you look at straight up films like The Room, like that movie is not as enjoyable. It's not as funny because it's bad. It's funny because they tried and it was. They were
doing their best and it was shitty, and it was that's good. Yeah,
but something like the second Transformers movie in particular, it's like that was just bad, but it wasn't even trying.
Yeah, no.
Like none of that's the worst. The worst kind of film is one that tries to be is average, because I will remember a really good film, and I will remember a bad movie.
Yeah,
it's as much as I hate it, as terrible as I think it is. I remember the fucking Justice League Snyder garbage.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, do you think you're ready to rank? Did you want to go first since it is your movie?
So.
I honestly, during this conversation, I moved it on my list. I'll tell you how I moved it, but
so I'm gonna put this one so I know what to start.
All right, do you want me to go first?
No, because I know what it's gonna be. I'm just writing it down officially on here.
Okay.
I'll just put Percy Jackson for now. So, of course, number one, Forever and Always.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you want to do the show? What is it called? It's James Bonding. Whenever they do their ranked list, like ranked characters or ranked movies or ranked fight scenes or whatever, the way that they do it is if they have like a guest on it, 3 people or 2 or even the regular 2 hosts, is that they will go down their list, or they'll go from the bottom up, but I'm not saying that, but they'll only like discuss the thing or the scene when both people have mentioned it. Did you want to try that for once?
So what is that?
So like they will say like, I think this one, oh that's interesting, I thought that one, and then eventually when like one person's it's like at 8 and the other person it's at 5, and then like, okay, now since we both mentioned it on our list alternatingly, now we can say this is why we think about that movie this way, and this is why I put it there, that's why I put it there. Well, that'd be like a much longer discussion for like when we have more.
Oh, I'll let you know. I get that. So we start at the bottom and move up, or do you go from the top and go down?
Well, since we've gone for the top so often, we already know. So it's more fun to go down, I think, because
especially
that's what people are more passionate about, like why it's there.
I feel like our tops are also pretty close.
We know that they are for the most part pretty identical for the tops.
So of course my number one is Freddy Got Fingered.
Same, my Freddy Got Fingered is the best. It's fucking perfect. Yes. What else is there to say? We've said it every single time. Go watch if you haven't and you're listening to this episode. Our episode of Freddy Got Fingered is very short comparatively, obviously.
Which we're gonna have to fix that.
We will eventually.
Because we're gonna friend of podcast.
Honestly, dude, I'm gonna just say, when we went to go see Dungeons and Dragons, I had in my head, I was like, you know what? I've heard it is surprisingly cheap to rent a theater space, and I was thinking we should get all our friends together, tell them it's something else, and then when that fucking Gord shows up on that skateboard.
So what you're saying is we're gonna you want to rent a theater to trick our friends to watching Freddy Got Fingered.
I'm thinking,
and we guilt them because we rented the theater so they can't walk out.
Oh no, yeah, we're gonna be like, we're gonna get something else, or hey, we're gonna like have a fucking video game tournament, and Tara, Kaylee, Ben, Chris, you're all invited.
I think the movie is the best way to do it.
A movie's probably more convincing. Yeah, we have a special screening we're gonna do. We have to find something that they might actually want to watch, something like that. And then when they're all in the theater, fucking like fucking.
So also,
I'm gonna make you so proud, Dad. Proud. Get the fuck out of the way!
Also, there's our Freddy Got Fingered
Hell yeah,
moment. So we're also, this is a test to find out who listens to our podcast.
Yeah, we'll find out who listens and who'll know this trap is coming.
And if you are listening and you learn about this trap, don't you dare spoil it.
Do not spoil it.
Because if you let us know by saying the word Jello shots, we will fill you up with alcohol for this film.
Yeah, we will give you plenty of alcohol if you know.
Yes. But you gotta use the code word Jello shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to say it, and then you need to be silent for the next several minutes. You can as long as it's
that's the code.
There's no exact time, but you can't just be like Jello shots 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then think whatever. No. We want the silence to get awkward from you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'd be the best treat.
Exactly.
But yeah, we definitely got to look into that at some point.
Yes. All right, so back to our rankings.
Yeah, of course we're going to be here.
Willy's Wonderland is my number 2.
Number 2, yes, Willy's Wonderland, fucking amazing movie. I think about it all the time. I'm staring at Ed's erotic Nick Cage pillow right now. It looks like he's looking great, and that movie's great.
Number 3, Freddy vs. Jason.
Number 3, Freddy vs. Jason. Yeah,
our top three.
It's the fucking cool ass gory action movie that doesn't even pretend to be a horror movie anymore. It's
right?
so fun.
Number 4, I have Warcraft.
Number 4, I have Star Wars Episode 3. No, number 5.
My number 5 is Star Wars Episode 3.
My number 5 is Warcraft.
A little bit of deviation.
Yeah. Well, we obviously like them both for different reasons.
Yes.
I love StarCraft. I love StarCraft. I love Warcraft. I love Star Wars. I think if I was just on my own, I'm thinking about whatever one I wanted to watch, I'll probably watch Star Wars Episode 3 before Warcraft. But I do, like we said, I'll probably watch Warcraft, fast forward the human scenes, and just watch all the orc scenes.
The orc scenes were that's really what it was. The orc scenes were that good.
Oh yeah, I think this is where we're gonna start diverging though.
Oh, this is
hardcore.
Yes, because number 6 for me is Bad Taste.
Yeah, see, my number 6 is X-Men Apocalypse,
which I still don't get.
Yeah. Well, you're not gonna get to my next one either.
Let's see, my number 7 is Troll 2.
My number 7 is Justice League. That's not gonna be a minute.
Yep.
Number 8.
My number 8 is The Banana Splits.
My number 8 is Trolls 2 / Fantasy Island.
Okay.
They were always tied for me.
That's right.
In my head, I just associate those at the same level of simultaneously boring and interesting in different ways.
See, for me, the Banana Splits had the good enough kills that it was enjoyable.
Banana Splits is a little bit further down for me. But yeah.
So
Troll 2 is like we always say, it's fun with friends.
Oh, yes.
But it's deadly boring otherwise. And Fantasy Island, I liked because it was a very whatever horror movie that was just fun to watch. I liked it because enough to watch it more than once.
Yeah. So my number 9 is actually Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
My number 9 is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. The exact same fucking place.
It's about average.
It was mid. It was very mid, and on this list, that means you're on the bottom third, I guess.
Because, it's a film that I don't... when I watched it today and everything, I wasn't like, oh, God, I have to watch this again.
Yeah, no, I was just like, all right, that's fine. But,
I have to get that with, I wouldn't go and watch Banana Splits on my own. but at least I remember it overall.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Same with Troll 2.
Same, yeah.
When I have to watch it on my own, I'm like, ugh. But when I watch it with friends, it's like, oh, this is so fun.
Yeah, Percy Jackson, I put that, it moved below Troll 2 and Fantasy Island for me during the conversation. I had it higher up, and I was just like, you know what, it's, like, even starting the second one, I'm like, yeah, there's so much, like, beyond the inaccuracies between the book, it's also, like, there's enough boring, bad written stuff that I'm like, this isn't as fun as, even Fantasy Island, which was dumb, I had more fun with than that. But Troll 2 was fucking, like I said, an incredible fun time with knowing what it's like.
Yeah.
Percy Jackson,
Yeah, it was either too quick or not detailed enough.
Yeah, very underwhelming.
Yeah, so my number 10 is now The Terror of Tiny Town.
Oh God, my number 10 is Banana Splits in the Hood.
See, I thought I could if I had to choose between them, I would rather watch this over The Terror of Tiny Town. I enjoyed making you watch it again.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. No, Terror of Tiny Town is the bottom of my fucking list practically. That shit sucks.
I was enough fun moments.
Oh, God, not even with friends, dude. That was awful.
My number 11 is Fantasy Island.
My number 11 is Resident Evil Apocalypse. Now, Fantasy Island, I thought, like I said, it was a very whatever Blumhouse horror movie. I should move it down because they did fucking monetize or demonetize their video. But,
yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, fucking
Blumhouse.
Every time, fuck that. That was annoying as shit.
Unless you want to hire us.
Yeah, I know. I need to just upload it again because who cares? I'm not gonna check. But and I'm actively not making money on these videos, so I could just fucking re-put it if I gave a shit. I definitely should just put it back up.
Definitely do, because at this point they probably did that because they're so close to it being released.
Yeah.
You think they give a shit now?
Yeah, they don't give a shit, but they probably forgot they made that movie.
Probably.
But I thought it was a very, in terms of like 7 or like 6.5, 7 out of 10. Lazy Blumhouse churn out movies. I thought it was one of the upper ones that I enjoyed.
See, I was that.
Also, I had the nostalgia from the old series that I'm thinking about. Like, it's an IP that I recognize, so I'll give it a leeway.
I don't even remember why, but I just remember when we were at the theater, I wrote "fuck this movie."
Maybe the tattoo thing at the end.
Was that it?
Possibly.
Because there was a lot of that was like the end. It was something that before that I felt like.
I remember when it turned into the weird goo monster and all the weird dark water people evaporated or whatever the fuck was happening. I like the whole the different plots of all the characters tying together and fucking.
I mean, that was interesting.
That was interesting.
I don't remember. I just remember writing "fuck this movie." So my number 11 or 12 now. Mm-hmm. I put a 9.5 for the 10.
Yeah. So, I have a bunch of paired ones, so I get it.
So let's see. So my number 12 is X-Men Apocalypse.
My number 12 is Terror of Tiny Town. X-Men Apocalypse is fun. Apocalypse is appropriately stupid powered. The fucking Magneto storyline is incredibly compelling. Yes, all the X-Men stuff in the X-Men movie is bad and boring, but
the one single moment was good of Magneto, but.
Magneto's whole story from the working in the iron factory to the fucking kids dying and turning evil again and destroying Auschwitz. That was all. I think that was if that was a short film, that would have been the most compelling fucking thing on the planet.
Honestly, for me, him with his wife and kid was all I needed.
Yeah.
At the second he kills them with the locket. That's where it should have ended.
If that was a short film that Disney put out, they would have won awards for that shit. It was so good.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
The rest of that film was hot fucking waste of space garbage.
I'd like seeing Apocalypse being ridiculously overpowered.
What was he though at times?
He turned people into goo and fucking melted people and just cut people's heads off. And it was cool.
It was.
Storm had her fucking cool '80s outfit.
It was awful.
But yeah, the X-Men stuff sucked.
Yeah. Number 13 is Resident Evil 2.
Number 13, really? I will say my number 13 is Chris's favorite movie, The Last Airbender. Resident Evil 2, I think Terror of Tiny Town was fucking more boring than that. Resident Evil 2 at least had some things that made me make my eyes flitter open a little bit occasionally. These last three fucking
You know what though? You know what? I will say this about Terror of Tiny Town. As terrible as it is, it was short.
Dude, I told you, we watched Terror of Tiny Town, did the podcast, and then watched X-Men Apocalypse is 3 hour long ass, and I was just that felt shorter than Terror of Tiny Town.
That is true, but at the very least, the reality was Terror of Tiny Town took up less time.
I guess.
And Resident Evil 2.
But I had to watch that twice, and I was upset. If I had to watch X-Men Apocalypse again, I would be fine with it. Terror of Tiny Town, I was like, God damn it, not again.
So, yeah, Resident Evil 2 was so... The one saving grace of that film, the only thing I can say nice about it was the Nemesis special effect.
Nemesis looked cool. Fucking, what's her name sucked though?
Yeah, it was awful. Fucking goddamn Alice. Number 14. That's where I have Chris's favorite. Chris friend of the podcast's favorite film, The Last Airbender.
All right, that's the bottom of my list, and that is now Bad Taste. Because that movie, I never want to look at that movie ever again. I don't know. I told you the grossness was not. I just watched Evil Dead Rise, which was fucking gory and gross and
Is it
goofy
good,
and shit.
by the way?
It's very, very good.
Also, I'm a little upset you went without me.
Oh, well, dude, I go to the movies like every other fucking. As soon as my week, my like fucking 6-day stretch of like 1 day off and 6 days in a row. I like whenever something comes out, I just go to the movies and like I stay there like half the day just to fucking like decompress. But like that's what I saw. I saw literally Renfield and then fucking that movie, and I was just like, they're both fucking super bloody and super gory. Renfield a lot of CGI blood, but it's fine because the movie's funny. And then fucking Evil Dead Rise is just like fucking disgustingly like. Ugh. Did you see like the main campaign thing is the fucking cheese grater scene, and it is.
Oh, I've not seen that.
It's rough.
The only thing I've seen has been like open up, honey.
Yeah.
And then Scooby face. That's all I have seen. And I'm trying to.
It is as you remember that you saw 2013 one.
Yeah, we saw it together.
Yeah,
remember?
yeah. Oh yeah,
the
ones we almost got killed.
Yeah,
by
we
our
were down the back alleyway.
Yeah, but no, it is as gory and goopy and fucking brutal as that. I would say it is like vile and gross and full of blood and gore, and it's great. Bad Taste, I fucking hate it because it was also unfunny, but in a not funny, unfunny
Here's
way.
Derek.
Yeah, I'm a Derek. Derek's not rotten, and just like I'm born again or whatever the fuck he says and all that shit. But like
Peter fucking Jackson.
Yeah, that stuff is ridiculously terrible, and the movie looks gross, but not in like the the blood and vomit way. It's just like it looks gross because everyone's disgusting looking. Like beyond but yeah, it's just like not fun gross to me. But that like Evil Dead is fun gross.
I do have one more, by the way.
Oh yeah, because I have a couple of mine paired. Yeah, your last one.
My last list is, of course, the worst film. And listen, if we watch something worse than this, I'm gonna be sad.
Oh boy,
the fucking 4-hour-long slog fest that is the Justice League Snyder Cut.
Oh god,
fuck that film.
I love that. That movie is perfectly fine. It's exactly in the middle of my list. It's at 7, 7 out of 14 for me because I have a couple of mine paired up. But yeah,
right now my middle of the road is Troll 2.
Nice. That is my perfect middle of this list. It has issues, but I found enough enjoyment in it. But it's not. I wouldn't say it like genuinely is good, and I think it was an improvement on the shitty original cut.
I mean, was it though?
Yeah,
it took up more of my life.
That fucking Joss cut is really fucking shitty.
This one was also shitty.
It was shitty, but it was shitty in different ways, and I appreciated it.
I hated that film.
All right, ready to do plugs?
Yes.
And then I'll hit you with the next time.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. All right. Do you want to go first or want me to go first?
I'll go first, I guess. All right. See Matthew Liz Podcast on Twitter, Matthew Liz Podcast on Patreon, Matthew Liz Podcast YouTube. Check and subscribe and stuff. Matthew Liz Podcast on all kinds of stuff. Matthew Liz Podcast. Check it out. Subscribe. My Letterboxd. I'm trying to remember what the fuck it is. ML Podcasts on Letterboxd. Go check out my movie reviews. I should probably just add all the movies that we did on this fucking show there.
Definitely should.
yeah, probably. Check out my Forgotten Minotaur King book. Definitely go buy it physically or listen to the audiobook, which is free. Go check out my other podcast, Action Toon Bros, my theoretical other podcast, Perna and Mars Indignant Mysteries, and the possible theoretical podcast I have with Chris about video gaming. Who knows? Check those out if they ever get made. I don't know. I'm too lazy to check if I'm ever going to go through that thing because I'm too busy working.
So you can find me on Twitch mostly at Father_Bohawk. I play hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon. Right now I'm playing White 2 Kaizo, which is a fantastic hack made by Sauce ATTA. It is all triple battles for White 2, and it is super hard, and I am on my 46th attempt right now.
Oof.
And but I've been getting more progress, and I'm hoping to get deeper and beat it eventually because he's got a new hack coming out hopefully later this year that's going to be really cool. So I'm excited for that. I'm also been posting I download all my streams, so you can find the replays of them on YouTube now at Father_Bohawk on YouTube. So make sure after you subscribe to Matt Lewis podcasts on YouTube, and you pop on over to mine and get some nice long. They're unedited. They're just as they were. So you can. It's like you're watching it live, but you can pause it and you don't miss anything.
Oh yeah.
And you can see all the early attempts of me playing this crazy game blind. And I'm also on Twitter at EdBobbinJack. I occasionally use it. I mostly don't, but I occasionally use it. And I think that's all I got to plug. So
All right. So finally, last thing of the podcast, the movie for next time. Now, once again, I remember for Warcraft, I gave you two choices, Ed. Not telling you the movie, but giving you a vague description. This time, okay, Ed, movie number 1 is a 3-hour fucking nonsense fest of brain-numbing action that I told you actively I think may have induced me into a seizure when I watched it in the movie theater. and I want to double dare you. I want to double dare you and pay your wife to make sure that you watch this in one sitting just to see your brain leak out of your ears. Or I have a very awful romance movie directed by Tyler Perry. Now,
oh boy.
Which do you want to do?
I mean, we've watched a Tyler Perry film.
Yeah, in the past, on our own time.
Yeah, and I remember
this one is a notoriously crazy movie. I think it also is 2 hours long, but it's like.
So I remember the one we watched. I watched. I think with Leanne. She gets the twist at the end.
Yeah.
And I remember we watched it. It was
Yeah,
whoa! And then she just guessed it. And it was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I feel like we could be twisted by Tyler Perry, but I think, God, you know what? Let's go. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but hey, it justifies me choosing out more movies like Bad Taste. So let's go with a 3-hour long brain melting.
Oh God. I was hoping you wouldn't actually.
You tried.
I want to watch it again.
You tried. You tried too hard.
Okay, Ed, we are going to watch Transformers: Age of Extinction. Now, this is the first Mark Wahlberg one, and
We watched parts of this together.
No, we did not. You're thinking of the other one after that with the knights and the big giant tentacle monster in space or whatever the fuck. No, dude, this movie. This is the one that introduced the Dinobots.
But that just came out, didn't it?
No, you're thinking of the one with the beast machines. This is the one that introduced the Dinobots. This movie is over 3 hours long. I literally lost brain functions. I watched it again recently on my own time because I was like, oh, let me see if it's still fucked up. And it was like, yep, it's fucked up.
Don't they fight on a giant floating thing at one point?
Yeah, a giant spaceship.
I've seen parts of this thing.
Yeah, you've seen parts of it. You're not gonna fucking remember. And I'm gonna force you, Leanne, do me a favor. Okay. The next movie we're doing is Transformers: Age of Extinction. It is a movie that I actively lose brain function watching because it is so long, and I'm not exaggerating, nonsense. I'm pretty sure I had a seizure in the movie theater watching it. I want you to make sure you don't have to watch it. I don't want to torture you like that. But please,
say, let's watch it now.
Oh God, no! I was gonna say, make Ed watch it. I want him to watch it in one sitting because I know he has difficulty doing that with some of these awful movies. But
how long is it?
It's over 3 hours. I think it's incredibly long.
Pain on her face.
It's shitty. It's really shitty, but it's terrible, and I want to see where he puts it on our list. God, it's so bad, and I really want to watch it.
I feel like this is gonna be a bottom. If it's what I remember, I feel like it's gonna be middle of the bottom.
Middle of the bottom, you think?
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those ones around X-Men Apocalypse. From the sound of it,
we'll see.
Where it's I hated it. And it was boring. Versus it was.
I don't think it's boring. It's just nonstop. It is nonstop.
There's no Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
So
it's tough, but it is a fun piece of shit.
So if we watch a 3-hour long movie, how long is that gonna make? Well, a 4-hour movie was 4 hours podcast, wasn't it? So
okay, looks like it is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay,
so shorter than I thought, but I'm trying to see if there's an extended version just to see if I can fucking.
Well, yeah, getting ready.
Yeah, go put it on. Yeah, we are also actively still recording. I forgot, but yeah, Transformers: Age of Extinction. It is, I think, the 4th movie.
Is it?
I think it's the 4th.
I thought it was late. I don't.
Because it's the first one after the Shia LaBeouf trilogy, and then there's there's 3 with Mark Wahlberg. There's 2 with Mark Wahlberg, and then there is.
I think we just found a fucking Transformer.
What? Yeah.
I remember that from the trailers.
But okay, yeah, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Check that out next time. Age of Extinction. We probably might watch it right now. Who knows? All right, keep it sleazy.
Keep it sleazy and oof my goof.
Oof my goof.
Oof my goof.